Mm, mm, mm. Oh, yeah. I'm with this, with it. I'm just gonna lay back and I'm gonna drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. But to set it straight, ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word, I'm ready. Let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunter's talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. Yeah, word on the street with the Earl on the beat. We superb in the beat, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. Yeah. They can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. Brother so smart, plus brother got style. Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J tried to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. From Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J tried to talk. You don't have stepping is the name of the show. Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunter's talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you want to talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. Yeah, the word on the street with the Earl on the beat. We superb in the beat, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. Yeah, they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. My brother so smart, plus brother got style. From Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk.
All right, y'all. Ain't no how Step Marcus J is live. We in the building, ready for an outstanding show. We're excited to bring it to you. We got a lot to get to tonight. I usually tease it here. Well, I always say I usually tease it here and then don't tease it. So I ain't gonna make tonight no different. Flagship show, Legacy and Radio, called Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. That's me. And it's time for the show. Let's get it.
Yeah. Think about that time. Think about that time again. Yeah.
Open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers have Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores. It's the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Watch it. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is high. The Yankees win the pennant.
Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J is live from NewDen of Legacy Internet Radio. Thank you to everybody who has checked in. There are a few who have checked in. I'll introduce who you are here in just a moment. Thanking everybody who is rocking with us. Thanking the folks who are watching live, who are watching us on YouTube live and on Facebook live. Perhaps you're watching the replays. It's because y'all rock with us. We will roll with y'all. So we got a couple of folks already checking in. I always like to refer to this man as Anthony. Yo, my man Tim, man, is checking us out. What's up, brother? Uncle H is checking us out. He says here. and my family, who I love. My sister Cuz is checking us out, and she is saying peace to us as well. And directly, I know what you're saying, and I got that, and I appreciate you always taking care of me for 49 years. She's had my back. Ain't no how step. Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. We're excited. I'm excited. So let us introduce the usual suspects. First usual suspect I see checking in on social media. He's the inspiration of Legacy Internet Radio, my brother and friend, the host of his own podcast called Taking No Shorts Podcast. Jay Grizzy, the man himself, is saying,
Hey,
y'all.
guys.
That's all he said. Y'all. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I think he's
That's
just
the
saying,
southern
I think
version.
What
he's
up,
just
You're-
cuz?
what up, bruh? Is what that is. So going around the room, start with my brother, looking across the room. I see him in production mode. He's trying to make sure that y'all know where to find us. What's up, bro? John Green. How you doing, sir?
Marcus, magnificent, keeping us the realest.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
Hey, look, man. I'm groovy. Grumpy as hell, but hey, what can you say?
Yeah, I'm groovy too, like
Yeah.
a tire tread.
Well, man, I like that one. I'm going to use that.
Please do.
I'm going to use that. Of course, our sister is with us. She is on my right side because she is my right hand. Our co-host and sister, Steph, baby. Yeah. Your turn. You got to do your
Steph.
part. Yeah. What's up, Steph?
You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but always forward.
Ain't you glad you hang out with the two corniest dudes in the history of podcasting?
I would not select any other corny dudes. How about that?
We just came along into life. We just happened to stumble upon
These are
Steph B.
These are the corny dudes I choose. How about
Oh,
that?
that's
My-
better. See,
That's what
here
I
I am.
mean.
I was clowning and you went
No,
ahead.
I'm-
I should have just
real.
let you talk, right?
These are the corny dudes I choose.
I should have
Listen,
just let
people
you
may
talk.
call us corny, but my people call it maze.
Oh, here we go. See? We're gonna start already.
Yeah,
Tonight.
he
Y'all
is.
stay tuned in. It's
Yeah,
bound to happen.
Yeah.
John and I will put on the boxing gloves in
Yeah.
a moment. Marcus will have his ref shirt.
Yeah, you know, it's
Thank God
it's
I'm short. His reach is long, but I'm super short.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
There
You know, shout out to Virginia Union University. We had a homecoming this weekend.
That's right.
As you can see, I'm decked out
Panther
in
Nation.
the maroon and steel gray. As you can see, 1865 not only was it Emancipation Proclamation, but that's probably what most folks think the shirt is about. It's not. That's actually the year that Virginia Union University was founded. So that's what that's about. So anyway, hey Steph, did you see me and John all clean on Friday, man? Did you
surely
see
did.
us? Did
I'm
you see
mad I
us?
didn't see it in person, but you know I told you what was going
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Yes, you fellas looked dapper,
I was handsome.
quite dapper.
I was handsome. I mean,
Got
John
rid of
was
this
cool.
hoodie.
Very nice of you.
No
Yeah, it's all right.
t-shirt.
John was all right. You know,
No
Alright.
base. Well, oh no, John always
he
gonna have a
was
cap.
all right.
Listen, got a
John-
rep.
he had the
Got a
cap
rep.
on. He
He
caught
always
that
gonna
joint.
have a cap. I was going to say no baseball.
Hey,
caps,
look,
but nah.
Can I tell you,
John.
when I pulled up, he was here. I saw he was clean and whatnot, and then I looked down and I saw the hat was sitting right
He
on
had
his
his hat
lap.
right
I
where
said, "That's my man's right there. That's my man. That's my man."
It's going where he goes.
Yeah, but we
I'm
had a good time.
feeling like LL these days.
Yeah, no, I
Look,
could
yo,
take
I
it.
saw a video.
Yeah,
I saw a video of LL walking into the airport, Reagan in DC. First of all, he walked in like he built the airport. I love the confidence of this brother, and it's not an arrogant looking swag, but he comes walking in, pants legs still up. All these years later,
hey man,
pants leg up, looking around like what's good.
you
I
gonna
was
be who you
like,
gonna be.
some people just don't lose
You
it.
gonna get. You gonna be. You gonna be. That's
Yeah.
how he roll. That's
He'll
how
be
he's
80
always
with that
roll.
pant leg.
Hey, you know, it's funny. You know, I had that picture, you know, and had some dialogue with some folks that it's like I didn't wear sweatpants and Crocs. And that's why I put that on there. You know, like if you saw my post on social media, I was like, no sweats, no Crocs, because somebody was like clowning, you know. So, but I had
But
fun.
isn't it nice to know you have a life so comfortable that if you want to wear sweatpants and Crocs, that's what you could do.
Hey, look, let me tell you something. First of all, shout out to our brother, the Legacy in that radio alumni of the Aaron Turner show. My brother Aaron Turner, our brother Aaron Turner is checking us out. Thank you, brother. Thank you, because you show up for us. You and your Uncle H, our Uncle H. We stole him from you, by the way. He's our Uncle H, as well as yours.
Sorry.
But you know, it's
We are
a
not
cool
giving him
thing.
back.
because I'm in dialogue often with Pop about, well, not often, but we've had dialogue about attire, and even as a young person, I just don't like to get dressed, man. I don't want to wear a tie. I didn't even get married in a tie. I don't want to wear a tie. I wear a tie once a month.
Yeah.
So
Mrs. J deserves all type of accolades and flowers for allowing that to be what it was. That's love.
Hey, man.
And shout out to Mrs. J.
I mean, I appreciate that, and thank you. I'm sure she receives that as well. It's just what it is, man. I would wear sweatpants and Crocs every day, and it's funny because, and I actually do wear sweatpants and Crocs every day. But it's funny because I remember being the dude, John, Steph, who threw all kinds of shade at Crocs. And now when I see it in social
wasn't a
media,
yogi then, though.
No, I wasn't. You're right, I wasn't. But like, I give you an example. He wouldn't mind me telling this story, and if he did mind, I don't care. Big Bro Joe, right, was at the crib, and he had on Crocs. This is way before I'm wearing Crocs, and I'm climbing a hill. It's like, dude, I can't even wear it when you wearing this, the plastic shoes, the whole bit. And it took Mama J and her beau to be like, you should try them. And I'm still, on the sofa, stuck my foot in the Croc. Instantly pulled out my phone and went on Amazon on the spot. In the conversation, the shoe was still on my foot.
Really? You
The
liked it
shoe-
that much? I'm wearing them tonight, so I can't really say much.
Yeah.
So-
Leopard print.
So I don't
I got my leopard print on. It's the only pair I own.
Everything with me is black.
I don't
so
do
even the
Crocs.
Crocs.
I learned a hard lesson I was wearing heels on a work winery
Yeah.
trip,
Yeah.
and the Crocs were saving grace,
Yeah.
and I can appreciate them.
Yeah.
I don't do Crocs, but I do the slides.
Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
I never
Same
did I
family.
never did the slides before. You know who made me do slides?
Who's
This is
that?
gonna be what's my man name? Oh my god, I forgot the kid's name.
It's
Because this
comfortable.
kid used to be in the AU in Brooklyn.
Basketball.
Yeah, and he played for the
They know
Lakers
they
for a
love to wear
minute.
some slides.
He played for the Lakers for a minute.
Yeah.
Tall, light-skinned, bald kid.
That narrows it down.
You know his name. I can't think of his name. Anyway, Taz. I think Taz something. Anyway, I saw him after a game one day. I think he was like 16 at the time. And he slipped. He was like, yo, I was like, yo, you putting on slippers? He's like, yo, after playing ball, your feet be swollen, and then you don't want to dog your sneakers out. So
You
the
put on
slides
some
is comfortable
Yeah.
with socks,
Yeah.
not showing your toes.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll try it. And I tried it. And now, especially going in and out the airport,
Oh yeah.
I'm slides all
But
day.
I'm
and out
also the
airport.
guy, I'm not a big guy, and I'm comfortable in physical positions that often brothers aren't. Like I can
Yeah,
sit
we
here-
talked about
we
that.
talked
on
about
Friday.
that on Friday. Yeah, like I
Crisscross applesauce.
I will sit here in this chair with my legs crossed and do the show just like
I
this.
told him I was envious of him because we were in these chairs and they were just, regular
yeah.
auditorium style
Folding
chairs.
chairs, yeah.
But we sat because there was like a video presentation before the movie. Then it was the movie. Then it was a question answer. Then they
I met
did
him
the
at
video
Yes, yeah.
perform
I met him.
live. They did. It was well over 2 hours in this chair.
It
And I'm
was.
like, Marcus, I'm very envious of you because
Yeah.
Your legs probably get
it's
all
not even
cramped
the
up.
legs, but his whole posture is able to adjust the way people
Yeah.
make stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The average size of
I
an
can't
American.
buy pants though. Every pair of pants I got to cut off at the bottom.
But look,
Which is crazy. Now, there
Every
you
pair
go.
of pants I
That's
buy.
a bit of a man tax. I will own that because I'm 5'4" and I could go buy pants.
I can't buy pants.
And it's almost like this assumption that every man is going to be 6 foot plus. If a man is under that, he should be able to go into a store and purchase
Can't.
and not have to pay a tailor
Every
or
single
get his
pair.
pants hemmed.
And it's sweatpants and jeans will drag. Sometimes I got to cuff. I've learned certain creative ways, but dress pants, no brainer, because you need that to look.
well,
a
I
certain kind of way.
gotta hem my dress pants. But they make stuff. The average height of an American man is
It's about
5'10".
That's
I thought it was
that's-
5'7".
It's
No, it's
7.
5'10".
It's
The
5'7".
Look at it. The average height of an
I
American.
already
is
know. I don't
5'10".
have to look at it.
5'10".
I always heard 5'7".
Yeah,
It's
it's
5'10". Right? So everything is set around
Hey,
5'10".
Steph, would you mind Googling that?
Go ahead.
Sure. Okay.
No, it's Google, please.
Well, go ahead. Keep going into
But-
what she's Googling.
Because if I'm wrong, I want to make sure I'm not telling people wrong stuff.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So
Average height for a man, 5'6", 5'7". Average height for a woman, whoa,
5'2".
5'2", 5'3".
I told you, I already knew that. I didn't have to Google it.
I remember that because one
Yeah.
day my son was having this whole conversation with me.
is that
because
the world or America?
You said America. She Googled America.
Yeah.
No, you did. That's
I
an American
did.
height.
Yes.
Wow,
I'm
Yeah.
closer to it. Don't you think I'd know, Mr. 6'4"?
that's crazy.
Yeah,
No,
I think that.
but what's the world? What's the world?
Okay, so
It's a little
here's the
shorter in the world.
Because I really thought it was 5.
and here it goes. It says average man has gone up to 5'9" and over years come back down to 5'7". That's America.
Okay.
But
The-
average height of men in the world.
I'd say it's
which,
a tad tick
by,
lower.
by the way, it also, this is why you should hate patriarchy and misogyny as much as I do, because the reason you can't go into a store and purchase something that should be efficient for your height
Yep.
as a male,
Yeah.
clearly a male, is because of the designation of masculinity and what it looks like and what it means. And so now a man who is not 6 foot has to go and struggle in the store, to get things, because they've done big and tall for years.
Yep.
But if you are a man that's under a certain height, usually 5'6", 5'5",
Yep.
yes, you are, not just pants, but dress shirts and things like that, because there's a designated perspective of masculinity. And that, look, if nothing else, there you go. Subscribe to Black Feminist Theory.
Let me get some comments in. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. Live from NewDen, Legacy Internet Radio. At least one person is in there clowning me. I'll give his comment last. So we got Aaron Turner says, I hope I didn't read this already, but I will say this. If in case it's I think I didn't say this before. He says he's on his suit game at sometimes, and in other times he's in sweat and b-ball shorts. He flows either way. He don't do no Crocs. He doesn't own Crocs, but he does wear slides. Let's see. Our brother Bobby is checking us out. Good evening. He says no slides, no Crocs, Semper Fi. That's right, because I've never met a Marine that wore comfortable shoes before. Let's see. Our sister Mama Mika,
Right,
Legacy
that
in
is
that
funny.
radio alumni. She says, not a little man store. She's laughing at what you said.
I mean, I was trying to be
but she said, but
polite
you,
about how
but
I
you
said
might
it.
be on to something.
I mean,
like a plus size for women, like Lane Bryant. I remember Lane Bryant still had a friend that worked
But
in
you know,
Lane Bryant.
way
think,
back in the
I
day.
think the reason they don't do it, they do big and tall because it's an absolute must.
Yes.
But I think they don't do it because
'Cause
a
we'll
lot of
figure
men
it
your
out.
size will go to
We'll-
like the boys section or
we'll
whatever.
figure it out.
Wow.
No, not being offensive, but no, they do.
He don't know any better. And no, 5'4" guys ain't going to the boys section.
And
But
that's
I
what
hear
was
you.
gonna say, because a 5'4" here's
Yeah,
the thing:
yeah.
a 5'4" woman is still built differently than a 5'4" girl,
Which is the
and that becomes part of the
which
problem.
is my waist. I can't even if and I know you weren't taking a shot. I received that.
Yeah.
But if I chose to go there, I couldn't find pants because the waist wouldn't work out. I got to shop in the men's to get the waist, but then I had to cut off the bottom.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is what it is. I mean, it just is what it is.
I was just hypothesizing.
No. It makes sense because frustration I have in my mind. Well, maybe I should go over there. So it's not that far fetched to think that.
I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure
I've been short
that
my whole life, so I've had to be creative. with
I'm
shopping.
sure that there are equally amount of men under 5'5" as there are men over 6'2". You know what I mean? Like, so
Perhaps
big and tall,
Perhaps.
and whatever the opposite of that would be, without naming it, they should have a store for it, or at least a section, because
I would say
there's
this.
customers.
I would say
Look,
this. I
money
as
to be made.
someone and the only one affected, I think that would be unnecessary because I've figured it out. You know why? And someone who's 6'5" is not going to be able to figure it out with 6'1" clothes.
Yeah, you can't. See, that's the
Right.
thing.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas
If you have it, you can make it smaller.
there
You can't
go.
make it no
there
bigger.
you go.
It got to
That's the-
start off big.
That's the point. That's
Got it.
that's the point. Ain't no how still Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and Radio. I love us because we can find conversation
And then
anywhere, and the listeners
Who
seem
said
to
they
be
wore the
enjoying
suit?
it
Who was
because Uncle H said he got 3 pairs of Crocs. Mama Mika said 5'8", great points. Maybe what Steph said is a must. So they're in there, and we appreciate it. But for the very first time tonight, I will say, can I say my phrase, y'all? Last week I ain't even asked. I just said it last week. So this week I'm gonna ask permission. Can I say my thing?
that? Go ahead.
Let us move on. We're gonna move on to Steph episodes, and I'm excited about this one because you get to like talk about gratitude. And as the touchy-feely guy that I am, I'm curious to know what angle of gratitude we're going to find ourselves in here. So you have the con, my sister. Oh, one more salutation. I almost forgot it. James, I saw you. My bad. I forgot to mention our brother James, and he's a VU Panther just like I am. And so thank you for rocking with us, brother. So hard to be a Panther. I saw your comment as I was reading them, and I just got distracted, but charge it to this noggin here and not to this big old monstrosity right here. So for the people who is listening, I'm pointing to my head and my heart, man. All right. So what you guys stuff?
That was cute.
So
I have been thinking about, well, I've been doing some writing, and that writing is based on it's an anecdotal memoir. And really it's to give lessons, because what I've been realizing is I'll go into these women's groups and things like that, and I'll constantly hear things like imposter syndrome and so on and so forth. And I have a very specific belief set or belief system around imposter syndrome. And one of those beliefs is that we often feel, and I say we very specifically because there's a certain group of people that constantly talk about imposter syndrome, and then there's a group of people that rarely talk about it, and they may not speak about it because they're not it's not something they would speak about just based on perception and who they're supposed to be. But for the group of people that constantly talk about it, I think there's an element to it that is pushing it, and it's what I call toxic gratitude. I believe that there are some people who are in a space of where they think about imposter syndrome, and it's because they're part of them. It believes that they're lucky to be there. I should just be grateful. They may not be telling themselves that, but it's underneath. So I had been doing some research on. I'd sent out like a little survey for this book a while back, and I was going through, and I realized that culturally, while we will talk about privilege for white people, there is an element that is the opposite of privilege for Black people that is just as detrimental, because privilege clouds the mind, right? When you talk to someone about privilege and they can't see it, it legitimately, they just cannot see it, right? It prevents them from being better humans sometimes because they cannot see it. And then when they see it, there are often people that fight back against it. The opposite of that for people of color is gratitude. And it is not thank you, I appreciate it. I find often that Black folk are some of the most polite people, ma'am, sir, so on and so forth, that I'm around. And so much so that you call things out when you don't think it's polite. So yes, I stand by that. One of the areas that we struggle with is this belief that we are lucky to be present. And I was kind of doing a thing of like, where is that coming from? So to give a little insight, when I was younger, I was raised by my grandparents, and they were phenomenal. At some stages in my life, say when you're a teenager and you're doing stupid teenage things. I was a pretty good teenager. I went to, there was little room for failure. They just weren't building a lot of space for me to be wild and free, right? Maybe one day we'll talk about how that leads to you getting married at 18, but that's a whole nother story. So, yeah. So I started thinking about what lessons I got surrounding gratitude and who I got them from. And I started thinking about the people that I would cross paths with or who were in my life. And one of the lessons of gratitude that I always got began with the words, "You should be grateful." You should be grateful. Um, or end with, "So and so doesn't have to do that with you, for you, about you." And so I began to really push down my true feelings for the sake of gratitude. I began to say, I don't like that. Like in my head, I know I don't like that, but I should be grateful to be here. I know I don't like that you spoke to me that way, but I'm going to be grateful and not say anything because I'm going to get the reminder that you should be grateful anyway. And as I started to get older, I had children. I got married. I had children at a very young age. I wasn't in high school or anything, but I was younger. And I realized that that training, the home training of which, when I was reading through these surveys, I noticed a lot of people who were Black and raised by other Black people, that was how they were silenced, was be grateful for what you get. And it didn't serve me well because as I got older, I would be in positions where I needed to speak. I needed to speak up. And I would go into, well, I'm present here and they're allowing me. I almost would justify something. Or, I was a young mom, so maybe not as aggressive or assertive as some of the older moms who had children my children's age. Something would happen and I'd be like, it's okay. And I started to use "it's okay" to justify my gratitude for whatever reason. My gratitude that you're here present with me, my gratitude that you want to engage with me because you're young, you're figuring yourself out, you're with all these people who are in their 30s and 40s, you're in your early 20s. And that type of gratitude starts to tell you that you're lucky to be present, not that you earned your way into it, or that you deserve to be loved and taken care of or provided for, or that gratitude is used to tell children, often in the Black community, that you don't have autonomy. You don't get to like or dislike anything. You just need to be grateful. And so as I look at gratitude, and we are moving into the season of gratefulness and thankfulness, I really wanted to talk about this because I think it's important, particularly for the way that we communicate. Where I will attach this to common culture is, we are raising children now, those of you who have younger children, and even those of you, Marcus, you have someone who is young, impressionable, going into the work world, earning their way into the work world, doing the work of applying and asserting themselves in a job interview. You do not want your daughter to walk into the workplace and let toxic gratitude force her into a position of accepting what could be behaviors that are not positive, whether it's microaggressions, anti-Blackness, anti-woman, dismissiveness due to age, any of those things. And then she goes into, I should just be grateful. And so the entire thing centered around how we raise children in the culture of Blackness, often silencing them with the reminder that they should be grateful to be taken care of, that you are low-key reminding them, I don't have to love you. I don't have to love you. And I'm truly saying this from a perspective of someone who, I knew I was in a loving environment. I was never abused or anything like that. But there is a big difference between when your biological parents are raising you and you're being raised by people who are not your biological parents. Not in an adoptive sense, but everybody knows these are not your biological parents. So anything they give you, you must therefore be grateful for, or anything you don't get, you should be grateful you got something before. And you will notice that loving people and parents or loving humans do not put people in a position of submission simply through gratitude. If you can't give from a position of wanting to give, and I will say this again for your children, give because they deserve it, not because they're good all the time. You're not good all the time. Not because they do everything they're supposed to do. You don't do everything you're supposed to do. And when those things don't happen, it's okay to have repercussions and consequences. But when you attach a child's reaction or another human's reaction to your expectations of gratitude, for us in our culture is detrimental. It's often deadly. It has prohibited us in many cases from making the progress that we need to make, assuming that we're an imposter in a space that we built sometimes. Because I should just be grateful I didn't get the treatment the last Black person got and they're allowed to be here. It would be like saying, and there are people who believe this, Obama should be grateful we voted for him. Never mind that he was the qualified candidate. Never mind that you have voted for candidates who were lesser qualified. Never mind that people have actually been president who were lesser educated, lesser capable, lesser aware. You simply believe he should be grateful that you ever gave him your vote. And I use that as an example because we love Obama in our community. And we would be like, yeah, he don't have to be grateful. But we then raise our children in an environment in which they have to grow up and walk in a certain space of confidence in order to survive through it, to thrive, to assert themselves. They have to be taught that they should not always be in a position of gratitude if it means silencing your voice. I can say thank you for something, but also not go into a position of where I'll accept anything just because. So I put to the table, you both are parents. Toxic gratitude applies in all areas. How do you feel about the way you were shaking your head. So clearly I'm not lying when I say we say these things to our children. I'm not worrying about any other child, but I'm saying about the children that we're raising, and we're coming into, again, a period of gratefulness. Look, he should not have to be glad that his dad visited.
Yeah.
That's his job.
Right.
Right. And so how do you feel about that and the impact it can have, but also where I believe it came from historically?
Gotcha. I like the racial component, and I'll come back to that. Let me get a comment in, and then I want to hear what John says first. Mama Mika says, I get a lot of flack because I love and give to my young fam, even when people don't think they deserve it. My love is unconditional, and I'll push them, but I'll never give up on them. I love that comment.
I love that.
I love that so much about you. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And more kids need and deserve that and don't get it.
Yeah.
We don't always have to tie the grace we give our children to their direct behavior. And I'm not somebody that's like, don't chastise them in the moment. I love what she's saying, because that is a proof of an unconditional love.
Absolutely.
That's why I hate the whole Christmas thing tomorrow. Oh, you did this, you ain't getting anything for Christmas. First of all, you're going to buy them something because it's your dopamine that's being served in that moment. Second of all, don't play games with your children's emotions.
That's the big joker right there. It ain't about you, the kid. It's usually about the parent coming through and putting the kid over. John, what you think on the topic? I'll respond after you.
It's funny. I'm torn with it. I completely understand your point and agree with it for the most part, but it's a funny thing because I'm not a person who believes in deserves. No such thing. Don't nobody deserve nothing. Don't nobody owe anybody anything. You get what you get, and you don't get what you don't go get. That's it. Don't nobody owe you nothing. You don't deserve nothing. Whatever you get, that's on you. Gratitude, be grateful to be alive. Be grateful to be in your right mind and physically able to do whatever you need to do, because there are a lot of people who are not, right? But I just, I'm not into the fairness thing either. Fair, you want a Ferris wheel, funnel cake, and cotton candy as you go to a fair. Otherwise, it don't exist, right? We live in America, and it ain't fair. That's what it is. So what you gonna do? Be a loser? No, you're gonna get out, go get something, make something of yourself, or not. So on you, I understand your point about getting into where you accept being marginalized because you believe that little piece that you got was all you deserved.
But I didn't attach it to fairness.
Right. No. That's my thing.
Okay.
That's not your thing. It's not, you are where you're at. And if you stop moving there and stay there, then that's where you are. And if you want to be grateful for being there, you got your mind is jacked up. You don't want to go no further. So you're happy. But if you want to go further, go further. And you don't have to be thanking anybody or grateful for whatever. If you did what you needed to do to get there, if it wasn't a nepotism thing or somebody looked out or or the gentleman C that got Bush Jr. in the Harvard or wherever he went, and that kind of stuff, legacy and all that. If none of that was the case and you did the work that you needed to do to get where you needed to be, if you're happy where you are, be there. If you want to go further, go further. That's on you. And yeah, what you said about the toxic gratitude, it's a thing because people do that. People feel that being subjugated and marginalized is a good thing. And
I don't know that I think they feel it's a good thing. What I do think is that, to go to my greater point, is that it's often trained into them.
Right. Well, that's
no different than you can.
It's not natural. It's not natural.
It's not. And here's the
part
irony.
of the mind wash.
It is.
Brainwash.
It is historic. Be grateful, old Jim, that they didn't whip you.
Be grateful you
They
in the
caught
house.
you
You
and they
could
brought-
be in the field.
That's right. Any of those things, right? And so we tend to. It's why I feel the way I do about corporal punishment from the perspective of putting a belt on a child. Like if I walked up to you in the street, took a belt and just whacked you anywhere I wanted to, that's a jailable offense. But if you do it to your child, it's not a jailable offense. And that's kind of, I really want our community to be better about what we are programming our children to believe, because then on top of it, we don't program therapy. So the child who doesn't believe, who becomes the 21, 22, 23-year-old, who's the first time attending of college in the entire family, and they're looking around and they don't feel they really belong, even when they've earned the right to be there, because nobody just gives Black folks free college. I'm telling you right now, I've worked in them. Without work. It's bad that we don't understand that the reason they feel that way is the indoctrination we passed on to them. It's not that they grew up wanting everything fair or that they're in that room believing that it should be fair. It's that they were taught anything you have is something you should be grateful for, because nobody had to give it to you and nobody had to do this. You're not even and guess what? Yes, you are deserving of some things. You are deserving of some
what things are people deserving of?
Well, let me jump in here. Aint Hastel, Marcus J, live from NewDen Legacy Net Radio. Peace to our brother Trey Arts, our guest last week. He's checking in. He says, "Good evening. Peace to you, brother. Thank you for rocking with us." Mama Mika says, "I challenge parents listening to do what I did. I would have my stepkids never called them that." I guess she's saying that for context.
Right.
I respect that so much. I love that. She would tell and her kid to tell her 3 things that they were grateful for every morning before school. I think I will say this about,
and that's a different thing. I would say to my kids, what were the roses, what were the thorns? That's a little bit of a different thing, but I get what she's saying.
I don't agree that you don't deserve certain things. That's a trauma response. The fact that we say we don't deserve anything. I get what I earn. While I understand the school of hard knocks logic behind it, there are certain things that we all deserve. We all deserve to be safe. We all deserve to have prosperity. We all deserve to be happy. There are certain things that are in your control and certain things that you are not in control. But we are all deserving of peace and prosperity, deserves it. And I think it sends a bad message to say that you don't deserve anything. Next thing that I want to say on that, I think that I agree that we have to work towards certain things. But when we talk about gratitude, I agree that gratitude is something that has been used as some sort of, I don't know, it's been used as a way of control. If you tell somebody, or if you make them feel a way about appreciating the basic things in life. Like my child, for example, I tell her regularly that I love her and that I'm proud of her, right? But
And she deserves that.
she absolutely deserves that. Absolutely deserves that. But a trauma response is the constant need for reassurance.
Yes.
She's not missing it at home. I promise you that. But she'll ask, "Are you proud of me?" I don't know what she's seeing that would create the need for that level of reassurance. It's okay with me because I'm here for it. I'm going to give it anyway. But I would love to hear from you, John, on any clarity when you say we don't deserve anything, if that's a definitive thing, because I just laid out a few things that I think we all deserve. Now, if you disagree with that, it's fine. We can talk about it. But the hard line of we don't deserve anything, to me, is a trauma response. That's a response that someone would give when they've had it hard and didn't feel like they didn't deserve anything. So that would be the response that would come with the question that was asked. So to that, you say what?
I think it might just be a definition or verbiage issue.
Okay. I can live with semantics.
I believe that we live in a universe that will balance itself. See, I can't say that we all deserve peace when a person comes out their house and beats somebody in the head with a baseball bat. That person don't deserve peace. They deserve jail time.
But the person that got their head beat deserved the peace. That's the whole point.
No, but you said we all.
Okay.
So see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
okay.
Understanding,
so there's balance. So
understanding the concept.
There's balance.
I understand that.
But there's also extremes.
Right,
So we're
right.
talking about the
So
general
what I'm
gist of
saying
humanity.
is this, right? I don't live a life with expectation, right? I don't look forward to, and I don't expect anything to happen that I don't put into the works myself. And even then, I know that there are situations where it won't work the way I want it to, and I may have to do something else, right? I believe it's bad for people to expectation is where disappointment is born. And in that same disappointment, you get these bitterness and self-doubt and all this stuff. People always they think it's supposed to be a way, and it's never that way. It's always a different way. So if you want peace, if you want to be a peaceful person. Surround yourself in a peaceful environment. If you're not, do the things where you can get yourself into a peaceful environment, but don't think just because you are that you deserve.
Why not?
Because
why not?
Because
I deserve peace because I'm peaceful.
Anything of
I deserve it.
Okay.
So tell me I don't deserve it.
I'm not
tell me why I don't deserve
Here we
peace.
go. You
tell me.
I'm about to tell you
why I don't deserve peace.
I'm about to tell you.
I'm hearing.
It's not about you deserve. You created your peace.
But you said
because you didn't have. Listen,
you said
it wasn't given to you. It wasn't a deserve. You didn't just wake up in the morning and just, oh, my life is peaceful. You went out and worked and made a peaceful life for yourself.
If I woke up and didn't move out of my bed and didn't do a damn thing, I still deserve peace. If I don't do anything to seek it, I still deserve peace. That's it. As you like to say, hard stop.
Okay. I say this again. whatever it is you feel you deserve,
I guess
I believe that you have to go get.
You don't deserve anything. You
No,
you don't
nothing.
deserve anything.
But you're
Cause you know why?
I
Because
agree with you about the trauma
if I
response.
started believing in what I deserved, I'd probably be like a cyber criminal.
but just because
I believe I deserve stuff that other people have, and I believe I should take it from them.
But
that's a different
that's a
thing.
different
But I'm
perspective.
saying
That's
not-
speaking to a whole
listen,
other
I
part.
don't
Like,
deserve-
Here's the deal, right? I think the deserve part is the part that what you said that I've certainly have picked up on, and Steph can speak for herself. Just because you don't get something doesn't mean you don't deserve it, and just because you didn't run towards trying to get it doesn't mean you don't deserve it. And that's why I use something as universal as peace and universal as love. Every human being that's born deserves to be loved.
But for
even if they were not loved
for every
properly
bit,
and don't know how to search for it.
But for every bit of peace, there's an equal bit of hate.
We're not talking about that.
But I'm saying,
I think
not talking about that.
I think you
It's a
move away
balance.
from
It's not a balance when we talk about what you deserve. The balance,
But that's the problem.
The balance
You want to lean the scale another way.
No, because we're talking about different things. The balance comes from what you end up getting. That's where balance comes from. But what you deserve to be loved, no matter
Why?
what. No matter what.
Why?
Because you're a human being. And I think the trauma response that you've given is the reason why we're at war right now.
No, we're at war to sell bullets.
Whatever.
Whatever. Ain't got nothing to do with it.
Whatever.
But
there's something that has to come from before selling bullets.
Right.
Yeah,
Something comes
making
before
money.
that.
Making money. That's
Something
all
comes
it's
before
about.
that.
And
That's
you
all
know,
it's
I will say this too. I think it's hard for people who have that trauma, unaddressed trauma, and I'm saying this even from a coaching space. There's also a part of ego in there that will say you don't deserve, and even if you wanted to remove the word deserve, I literally preface this around children, because not to get all Whitney Houston here, they are our future. And I will see, I'll be on, I'd say it all the time. Twitter is the platform I prefer of social media.
What?
And
I prefer TikTok.
What?
I know you do.
You prefer what?
Excuse me, the Bird app, the former Bird app. Okay.
X.
Although I'm getting savvy with threads.
Are you really?
We'll see where that goes. And I like TikTok too. I don't post as much, but I do like it. I think if I posted more, I would enjoy it.
Let me pause you right there. Two comments that I want to get in, and they're both germane and we'll be talking about.
Absolutely.
Uncle H says gratitude has a Black Christianity component. Also, the racial piece is rooted in white supremacy. That's the point you were trying to get to. So
yes.
Thank you.
I agree
for
with
for
Uncle
saying
H,
it better than either we could.
But I told you,
Hold on.
I told you I agree with you.
Hold on, y'all. There is also an analog to survival trauma that Holocaust Jews experience. That's the rest of Uncle H's comment. Our brother B, like it's on his hat, as Jay Grizzy would say. Our brother Brent is the resident atheist in the crew. Also, as Grizzy would say on Taking No Shorts podcast, our brother B, we appreciate you, brother. You've been rocking with us for the last few shows, and it has not been missed upon us, bro. And we're gonna give you the same love on this show. Actually, let me rephrase that. We're gonna give you more love on this show than Grizzy gives you on your show with him. That's me taking a shot at Grizzy. And Brent says X gonna give it to you.
You know what? I love
He
it.
loves to drop a jewel like that. I wanted to pause you, get those in. I got those comments, and go ahead and continue your points.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I
I didn't
mean,
get you off of it.
There isn't. Okay. So I specifically mentioned children because the way that, like, I've been on Twitter and I've been watching how some elders have been responding to young hip hop artists. It's been very fascinating for me. And I'm like, you had a miserable life, so you want these young people to have a miserable life. I can look at something and they'll say, they don't even rap right. They ain't doing this. They ain't doing that. Look how they look. Look how they dress. Look at it. List. They need to be grateful anybody even want to see this garbage. And it's like, well, it wasn't meant for you. And at what point is our community going to look at our youth and say, they deserve good shit too? They are deserving. Like, why are Black children excluded from a positive life experience. And it's concerning for me. And this is where I go with the trauma response as a Black woman who identifies closely with womanism and feminism. These responses, or how we perceive what children deserve, will turn into what those children become as humans, as adults. So I look at someone like Blueface, and his constant clearly needs therapy, constant traumatic behaviors, constant lashing out at women due to his own mommy issues and so on. And I'm like, he deserved a better upbringing. He deserved a mother in his life that didn't treat him like that was her little man. Right? He deserved a mother he deserves now a mother who has more good sense than to jump into arguments with his baby mamas. And if she had trained him, and dad too, but she's the one who's visible, so I'm going at her. If she had given him what he deserved as far as life education as a youth, he wouldn't be the man he's become. And this is the problem with our community. It is a constant recycling of the trauma from plantation to the grave. So it's recycling the trauma. It's looking at someone, you weren't a happy teenager. Now you see, and I literally could see this in an aunt of mine. And I truly love my family, but this is what therapy and becoming a coach and all will do. It gives you certain clarity. I love this aunt. She could not stop herself from consistently reminding me that I didn't deserve the good things I was getting. And then also telling me over and over and over again that she didn't have that when she was young. It's your trauma.
Well, that's
it
trauma.
is your trauma. And now I see this person as an adult in their 60s. And their trauma is resurging in the form of how they feel about other family members. So I go back and I go, oh, I had to be exposed to your 30-year-old trauma or 30 some odd year old trauma when I was a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old girl. And that trauma made me believe I wasn't worthy of the good things that people were doing for me as a child. But I could look around and see my cousins getting all of those good things and no one telling them constantly, you're lucky, because it was their parents. So it's an expectation. But for me, you're lucky. My parents are willing to do this for you, right? And that level of trauma being launched at me became a thing of where it took therapy and confidence and a transition of myself, becoming a certified coach and so on. It took all of those things for me to then determine whatever room I am in, I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. I don't owe you multiple thanks for being present. I told someone that I was going to be the keynote speaker there, a white man, and he said to me, well, la-di-da, aren't you special? And I said, maybe no more special than the white men who've been the keynote speakers beforehand. I'm not saying I'm special, but your response is like, oh, you get to do that? Aren't you special? No, I'm a Black woman with a message and I show up and I give that message. I don't know why you'd have to go there with me. But when I responded that way, he took it to, oh, I just meant, you're probably very thankful that you got invited to this event. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, the only thing I'm thankful enough is that they could read my bio and discern that I'm meant to be there. I don't have to be grateful to be in the room. I've done the work. My life story is work.
Yeah.
And so it is a trauma response and it's something we have to be careful of. Your daughter is going to date or marry and all of those things. My daughter will date and marry and all those things. And imagine them pairing with someone who has been taught that even the bare minimum of life, they should just be grateful to have. You know what? We feed you ramen every day because your parents aren't paid well. They don't live a good life. Can't send you to a good school, so on and so forth. You should be grateful you breathing.
Yeah, I'm just not okay with that.
It's not something I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm not okay with you know, once you get here, there's certain things you deserve. Period. And peace,
How are we
love,
debating that?
a good life,
Yeah.
happiness.
And the good life, maybe mom and dad can only buy you clothing from Walmart.
Is one of the things
But there's a difference between you barely have a shirt to wear and you should just be grateful you at least have that shirt. We've trained ourselves into a complicit belief in lack.
is one of the things that if you are to believe America at her word, she got right in the Constitution. When we talk about inalienable rights and the right and the pursuit of happiness and those types of things, the United States got it right by her document. Now, the problem, the trauma that came about was America was full of shit and she didn't keep her word.
Right.
And when Martin Luther King said, be true to what you said on paper, that's what he was talking about. Be true to what you said on paper.
And we watch everybody talk about what they deserve every single day in areas that they don't. You know, if you were to tell these MAGA people they don't deserve blah, 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 they quote up and down what they deserve, whether it's and they will start with the Constitution that they truly don't understand and go all the way into their privilege. I deserve this because my grandfather fought in the Confederate War, in the Civil War as a Confederate, and I deserve to fly this flag. I'm not talking about stuff like that, but those people weren't indoctrinated in youth. They weren't indoctrinated that anything deserving was out of their grasp. They were indoctrinated that anything you believe you should have, even if you don't have it, you deserve it and you can go after everybody else and so on and so forth. Our children are taught, well, you ain't gonna have everything.
Be happy with what you got.
Be happy with what you got. Oh, you didn't, that's not what you asked for? Well, then, then
with attitude.
And then it starts to seep into when something doesn't feel right to me. I went to parochial schools that were boarding based and everything else, and you're present and you're with people that don't look like you, and someone not teaching me to understand that I am deserving created a hitch in my experience because I wasn't mature enough to know how to challenge people and say, hey, I deserve better than that. I had been taught by the people who love me that I'm not allowed to challenge what I deserve and don't deserve. And that's where I sit with this. Think about what you say to your children, how you're saying it, what you're teaching them about gratitude and the difference between toxic gratitude, going overboard. Just think about those things, even in what you say to them. And that's where
here's where I will fall in line with the subject matter. And I'm gonna go a little bit off of it, but first I want to fall in line with it. I think the only thing that people deserve is to be secure in their self and their property. Right? No one should be able to come into your personal space uninvited or, take property from you. And in that, you have, by whatever means you have, there to protect yourself and your property. Now, a bum will be laying on a bench at a bus stop. I'm just saying. And he'll feel like he deserves to lay there. He's not waiting for a bus. He's not getting on a bus. But there are people standing up who can't sit on the bench because he wants to lay there. He feels he deserves that. So the deserves is a thing. And America did keep his word. He wasn't talking about black people. He wasn't talking about poor white people. They were talking about the elite people who wrote the document. And for them, it was all true. The problem is later on down the line, we got into we deserve it too. And the people, even then, they say, well, we wasn't talking to y'all. Y'all ain't the people. We weren't talking about y'all. We were talking about landowners, white men, not even women. Where y'all think y'all coming in that set and y'all try to put yourselves into this? This ain't y'all document. It's our document. So people wanted to hijack it, and it got to the point to where it is today. This is why the right to bear arms is a greater right than the right to travel. because they want to tell you that a driver's license is a privilege and having 50 guns in your trunk is a right. So I mean, listen. All I'm saying is this. Like my mother told me once when I was going to school, she was like, don't go if you don't want to go. Grow up, be a bum. I have an education. I have a diploma. When you grow up, you'll be a bum. You don't have an education. The people in the school, the teachers, the principal, the dean, they all have an education. They have their education. And guess what else they have? They have your education. Now, you going to go get it or you going to sit here and not have it? That's on you. I went to school. Right? She didn't tell me I deserved it or they're supposed to give it to me. No. Let me say what I'm saying. She didn't tell me they have to give you that. It's your right there. It's there. It's yours. Go get it. But if you stay home, know that you're not going to have it. Ain't nobody going to bring it to you. Right? I don't believe in the idea of gifts. Just giving people shit. Like, I mean, I don't understand. I don't believe in participation trophies.
I don't think that's what I said. But
I
okay.
didn't say. I'm not talking. Okay,
We're talking about Steph.
let's
So
go
then
back.
you should stay within Steph.
Let's rewind. Steph, I agree with like 95%
No,
of what you
not
said.
And you
What
haven't
did I-
agreed
No,
with
we can
anything I
rewind.
said
We can
today.
rewind.
He said that earlier.
Where have
That's
you
the
really
first thing
wholeheartedly
I said.
I don't think it's okay. So
I
this
said
is
I
where
have
I'm not
an
going to
issue
say
with
it's
the word.
okay. Saying I agree with 95% of which I don't need you to do. I'm good if you don't agree with any of it. But saying I agree with 95% of what you say is not going to distract me that you disagreed with 95% of what I say. It's not going to distract me, so it's still going to create dialogue. It is what it is. And I'm okay that you don't agree.
So let me try to be clear. One, I do agree because you were speaking about people having gratitude seemed to be the center of it and how it was drilled into the minds of people, and especially Black people in this country, that they should feel good. Children, Black
in our
people
community,
and children in the community, that they should just feel good and be happy with the scraps thrown to them.
That's the logic.
I agree with that 100%. That's a serious issue, and it needs to be worked on.
That's a point of agreement.
Boom.
Yes.
Now, I believe that was the body, the essence of what you were saying. What I'm saying is, I want to be careful with taking that in certain contexts and believing that there's deserves without work, that there's deserves without effort, that there's deserve. Oh, you just supposed to have it because you supposed to have it. No,
but
I really hope that's not what they heard in what I said. But okay,
well,
agree
I'll kind of clarify, and then I'm going to clarify, and then I'm going to move us on. I understand what both of you are saying. I'll use a quote to make the point. You can pray until you faint, but unless you get up and do something, God's not going to put it in your lap. Fannie Lou Hamer. So I understand what you're saying. I think there's a bit of a disconnect because while you don't deserve things that you can physically go and attain, there are certain innate things that we all deserve, which is the reason why I made the point that I made. Perhaps you don't deserve an education. I don't feel that we should argue about that point. I understand the point that you're trying to make with regards to that, John. But the things that I mentioned are, I think, unquestioned that we all deserve, just as human beings, just as I understand. I understand what you're saying, what you're trying to say. So that's all I'm saying. Mama Mika, she dropped this comment earlier while you were talking. She said that was entitlement. So I got you on that piece as well. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J, live from NewDen Legacy.
Thank you, Mika.
Legacy Internet Radio. Steph, close out Stephisodes for us. Give us the final word.
I mean, I just think someone like Mama Mika, she hears it and she gets it. And I really focus this on children because if you're broken as an adult, there's not a whole lot I can say or change about that perspective. But if you are raising children in the moment and you're watching everything that is happening, both politically, publicly, your children are not with you 8 to 10 hours a day, you have got to strengthen them and put them in a position of believing they are just as deserved in an environment of a good education when they're present, of being treated like humans, of being respected, all of those things. And they should not question it. And when they see that it's not happening, that's when they should be willing to speak up. But if you train them and raise them up in the way of toxic gratitude, to Uncle H's point, in the sense of toxic Christianity, the likelihood of your children being underserved or mistreated when they're not with you is more significant, and that will follow them into adulthood. So just be mindful when you're speaking to your children what you say to them. You know, we love Black Christianity. We speak life, and then you speak death over their desires and what they deserve. So just be careful of it.
Ain't no how step Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy in that radio. As we shift to Green Talk, I think the quote of the night will come from Frederick Douglass when he said that it is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men.
There you
Ain't no how
go.
stepping with Marcus J live from
Oh,
NewDen
Marcus coming through with the quote.
Legacy Internet Radio. Legacy Internet Radio. Okay. Thank you. Let's shift. Let us move on. We're gonna shift as we move into Green Talk. We'll move further into the balance of the show. At this time of year, I think it is very important to be talking about what John's going to be talking about in Green Talk as we shift to the fourth quarter of 2023 and getting ready to get to the holidays and the end of the year and shifting to the beginning part of the year. It is important to be focused on what our goals are in the future. With that set up, you have the con, my brother. It is time for Green Talk.
Thank you. I want to talk about banking and how it looks now and how it's going to look in 2024. It's a little bit different, and it's funny because just going around town, I still see a disproportionate number of our people at the check cash, the post office, the Walmart money center, you know, doing their business. Now listen, handle your business however you need to handle your business, but exercising good banking habits, having a bank account will take you a lot further, right? You'll be able to do much more. And I want to talk to people who may not be familiar with banking and things that you need to do and how it's changing. FDIC, there is a right now it's at $250,000 of insurance. That's how much money they're covered. They're talking about increasing that number moving into next year, right? It hasn't gone yet, but it's very likely that it's going to go. You need to find a good bank that doesn't have service fees or has a low minimum balance on service fees. Maybe something like $100 or $500. Most of the big banks is like $1,000, right? So you don't want service fees coming out of your account, and you want to try to budget yourself to where you can have your bills covered for about 90 days, right? So that you're not, waiting on a check to pay your bill, right? And you want to have multiple accounts. A lot of people have one bank account. They got one checking account and maybe one savings account. In 2024, that's not going to work. Not going to work, because if you got too much money in one institution, you run a risk of having issues. Just ask people about Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and even Chase been having some issues lately. So kind of try to spread your money out. And remember, banks don't look at the numbers. They look at the commas. That's all they're interested in. Do you have a comma? You're a no comma banker, you fall over here, right? You're a one comma guy, you fall over here. 2 commas over here, 3 over here, and we're not even going to deal with 4, right? But everybody has a position based on the comma, not on the number. So $1,001 is the same as $9,999 to the guy at the bank because you ain't got another comma. Right? So they're gonna treat everybody in that group the same. So establish relationships with the bank. A lot of people want to go online banking now, and that's good for certain things. I would recommend that you get whatever credit card you have. If you have it with a bank, please have your credit cards with a bank. I know a lot of these people online offer cards not affiliated with a bank, and they offer it to you. They basically want to give it to you, and you want to take it because you want to have it. And sometimes you may have to take it because you need to build your credit and do certain things. But you want to try to get credit cards with established banks. And with those banks, it's good to be able to do banking online and make your payments online and have things automatically done. You still want to go into the bank physically and establish a relationship and have a one-on-one with somebody in the bank so they know who you are, so they can attach your face to the file. It's a good thing to do, especially when you want to do things like get mortgages or car loans and things of that nature. I also highly recommend in 2024, credit unions over traditional banks, right? We have one in the Commonwealth, Virginia Commonwealth Credit Union. It is amazing, right? The customer service is wonderful. The people are wonderful. They have wonderful products, and they offer very competitive rates with all of their things. Of course, the big one is Navy Fed. People are in the Navy Fed all day. It's a big deal. They give the best car loans. Another one is Penn Fed, right? So look into these guys, establish bank accounts, establish multiple bank accounts, so that you'll be covered. And when you have your business account, try to have a personal account in a different bank, right? Keep your business and your personal, completely separated, like Biggie said, right? So, but I'm saying it's
For the Gen Xers.
it's meaningful and purposeful that you do that, and it's a whole nother long thing. I try to, when I do Green Talk, I try to speak directly to people who I feel need to hear what I'm saying. There's an entire group of people out there who's listening to me who like, why are you even you talking stupid, right? Because y'all don't need to hear this. But there's some people out there who do need to hear it, and those are the people who I'm talking to, right? The people who are still trying to find their way. And again, my information is always available. We always have Legacy Internet Radio online. You can put in comments and questions or whatever if you need some assistance. I will help you to get your situation straight if you need be. I will recommend banks. I will let you know what you need to go into the bank, to open an account, to start the account. You have a checking, a savings, a CD, different products that they offer you that will really, really work well for you. Green Talk.
My man.
I like that you
I love
point that out because it is important. There are those of us, like you said, have their degree, their bank accounts or whatever is already set up. But there are people who don't have it and don't tell anyone. And, you know what I mean? So thank you for saying, making it acceptable that, this messaging, there's somebody that's exactly in that position. So
and guess what? We have, like the toxic behavior, it gets passed down, right? Generational. What did mom do? Mom didn't go to the bank. Mom went to the check cash, cashed her check. Oh, you can't, they don't cut you no check no more. You need direct deposit, right? So you got to get a bank account. No, you don't. All you need is one of them little cards, and they sell them at the check cash.
Oh, that's a good point. So I don't think about it, but this is going to be a dumb question, I believe. So how a check cash in place is staying open if the person is not getting it? Most people are not getting a paper check. Because most companies immediately push you
fees.
Well, I mean, from the perspective of who's going.
Oh, everybody's going. Go on a Thursday. Go on the 15th, the 3rd, the 1st. it will be crowded out the door.
Because they have a paper check.
No,
There's-
because they have a bank card, right? And they don't want to go to the ATM. They want to go to there because what they're going to do is they're going to buy a money order so that they can pay the bills, right? And then they're going to put more money on the card or less money on the card,
and
whatever.
then go to,
And they got it from the check cash, right? Because they were going to the check cash every day, but then they stopped doing that. So when they stopped doing that, the check cash offered a product. It's a little bank card with a little Visa or MasterCard logo on it. They sell it for like $2 and you reload it and dispense it. It's attached to a bank account in some bank somewhere and they making
which
money
is
off your
not
money,
yours.
but you cannot access that account. You can't use this routing number and account number to pay bills directly. You cannot draw interest off the money. You just can't do those things.
Right.
So this is what's going on. So I just want to lead people like who feel that they can't have a bank account or that
You can
somebody's
get a bank
gonna.
account.
You can get a bank account.
It's not hard. Not these days.
You can get a bank account.
Every bank wants your money,
Listen,
even pennies.
Yeah,
They'll take
no,
it.
and I'm gonna tell you, here's the problem. A lot of people have bank accounts, right? And they messed up and they went into something called check systems. Check systems is like bad credit for people banking. And a lot of banks will not offer you an account when you're in banking, when you're in check systems. But the way around it, again, go to the credit unions. A lot of the credit unions will overlook it depending on how long it's been. If it's been more than 3 years, you'll get a pass. Some banks won't do it. Chase won't do it. Wells Fargo won't do it. But if you go to one of the credit unions, they will do it. But get yourself a bank account. Also, funny enough, Capital One offers some real nice bank account these days, and they will forego check systems as well. So think about that. Well, it's good because the reason I keep the Capital One bank accounts because I got like 5 of their cards because they give out nice points. So I have the account so I can, and plus they great with their Zelle. Their Zelle is incredible. So
Ain't no half stepping, Marcus J. Live from NewDen, Legacy in that radio. John, you hit it out of the park tonight, bro. That was outstanding, and appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we're gonna move on again. So the next topic that we're gonna move on, I'm I'm gonna have our brother introduce this one. Not our brother John Green, but our brother Joe Budden. Check this out, y'all. This is crazy.
And he calls me and starts talking about some real estate shit. For me, that's odd. We don't speak. And now you calling me, telling me that your man's with the government and he could get the buildings and there's a list, it'd be me, you, and Queen Latifah, and whatever the fuck he was saying, because I was walking my dog in the backyard, so I want to stop listening at this point. But that just sounded fishy. You give me some money, we're gonna take it, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get that, we're gonna. And my brother,
to real estate, I call 3 people. I call Clue,
Mhm.
I call Fabulous,
Mhm.
I call Joe Budden.
Mm.
Right? My Desert Storm family. And I said, hey guys, I'm doing real estate. This is something that I think that you should invest a little bit of money in, try it out, and that way you can do it. Joe Budden told me it was a Ponzi scheme and I was gonna go to jail.
No comment from DJNV. An inside source tells us that the iHeartRadio offices were visited by the feds who took out electronic equipment as part of this investigation.
Well, Steph, that was something else there. What do you think? Joe Budden looks like he just
he loves it.
He just dropped it. What do they call it? He dropped the bomb or dropped the dime or he dropped something.
Listen, he
spilled
just,
the tea.
He spilled the tea.
So set it up. I wanted to play
pulled
the clip.
out the receipts.
I played the clip first, right? Receipts. I played the clip first. We could have set it up first. I didn't want to set it up first. I want to play the clip because that's how I got introduced to the story.
Okay.
I got introduced to the story by watching that.
Oh, really? So
yes.
I didn't know that. When I sent it, I was just like,
nah. When you sent that, I thought it was a joke because I clown you and I talk back and forth. I was like, this dude staying stuff. And I thought it was something else. I won't say what that is because we're not talking about what that is, and I don't want to get them excited about us talking about that. But I thought it was something else.
Yeah.
So when I started watching that, I was like, hold up, what's this? And then I watched another clip that I can't play because it was just too much language in it. But then after watching that,
Was that the Sheila clip?
no, we playing that.
Oh, because I was like, come on now.
we definitely playing
We
that.
gotta play that.
But the other Joe Budden clip, it was too many
okay.
N-words in it.
Yeah, it was.
We
It
could
was.
say fuck forever,
but
but
yeah,
I ain't saying
he
the N-word.
overdid it.
Yeah,
He
it was the
overdid it.
N-word just flew too much. But point
Yeah.
being, I was introduced to this story watching that clip.
Okay.
And so go ahead and set it up. I mean, I have the article from the root that you sent us. I have that here if you want to read from it, or if you want me to read from it. I mean,
You're welcome to read from it, or I can just give a quick intro to it. Whatever you want to do.
give us the intro. And if
Okay.
we need to get some details, we'll come here.
Right. So some years ago, DJ Envy from the Breakfast Club paired up with Cesar Pena, and that was his boy who had been in jail for different financial crimes and things like that. But according to Envy, learned all about real estate and real estate investment while in prison. Yes. Came out, and listen, I'm just going to preface it with people rehabilitate, but he was in jail for financial crimes.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that part.
He was in jail for financial crimes.
I didn't know that part.
Yes.
Listen, he deserves to make money in real estate.
Oh, okay. Look at you being an ass. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Sanitation too, right?
yeah. Right. Right. And so maybe if somebody had actually taught him something, he wouldn't be that person, but he wouldn't have been sitting in jail. But so anyway, so he goes to jail for financial crimes when he comes out, he's apparently a real estate guru. Enough so that DJ Envy decides to partner with him in a real estate investment firm. They're traveling around the country. They're doing real estate. You know, the ones, you don't even have to hear the DJ Envy ones. You could, the Grant Cardone, come out, learn about real estate investment, blah, blah, blah. They were doing that. Right. So they would go play Atlantic City. They would buy out the convention center. You would go, you pay, you would sit down, learn about how to invest in rental property based real estate. Fast forward. Oh, so he calls, and Envy told this story as you played, that he called but Joe Budden
along with other folks,
along with other people, and basically was like, yo, you should do this with me. And Joe Budden was like,
that's a Ponzi scheme.
N-word, that's a Ponzi scheme. Get your ass out of here. Right? Oh, he let it go. Now, over the years, other people have come to the Breakfast Club and low-key shaded or directly shaded Envy for this. I'll send you a clip later where Darnell, the comedian, is on there, is like, didn't you resurrect Joe? Didn't you resurrect Big Pun and only bring him back for him to do real estate? Like they always clown it. They always clown it. And Joe Budden's point was like, yo, it sounds like a Ponzi scheme. I don't like it. I don't mess with my money. My money always got to be clean. I'm out. Fast forward 2023, Cesar Pena has been arrested basically for a Bernie Madoff-like scheme, except he never had as much money as Bernie Madoff. What they found out, or what they're alleging, is that Pena has basically, a Ponzi scheme. He has been taking John's money and investing it, quote unquote, investing it in real estate properties, telling John that John would get a 45% return on his investment within blah, days or months or year. And then going to Marcus and getting the money to pay John on the anticipated return on his investment. But now he's got to constantly, and for the people who don't really understand what a Ponzi scheme, you got to constantly keep bringing people in to replace the money you're stealing.
Yes.
In this period of time, DJ Envy is known for being extremely extravagant, not only in general, but with his wife. This is another part that I didn't send you. So he has a thing where over the years, he gives his wife a present every day leading up to Christmas. You know, the high-end purses, Louis Vuitton, all of those things, right? Well, sis went back on her Instagram this week to clean up and start pulling.
Oh, man.
She's pulling pictures down.
Sean, do you hear this?
She's pulling pictures down because she don't know how deep in they're all going to be on this. So Cesar Pena is released. He has an ankle bracelet right now. They're tracking him.
$1 million.
or more.
You know, you do not. Yeah.
Hold on. But
Pleaded
here's the
not
big thing.
guilty
I don't
and
want
was
you to read.
released. No, I'm reading it
Oh,
right
yeah,
here.
go ahead.
From the root. I'm getting this from the root.
Yes, that's a good article.
And Candace McDuffie of the root.
Mhm.
And it says here, Pena, 45, pleaded not guilty and was released on $1 million bond as well
Yes.
as electronic monitoring.
Yes.
There's another quote here. Let me read some of this and you pick up.
Mhm.
Investors claim that he would rehab and flip the property. They will receive a return of 30% of the profits within months. He reportedly conned investors to unknowingly buy into one property that generated him a profit of several $1 million. However, they never saw a dime. Now, here's the quote. This is Tammy Tomlins, special agent in charge of IRS Criminal Investigations Newark Field Office. Tammy says, plain and simple, the defendant run a fraudulent scheme. They falsely represented the nature of their businesses and lied about potential investment returns to bilk unsuspecting victims out of millions. Today's arrest highlights IRS criminal investigations and our law enforcement partners' commitment to investigate and prosecute unlawful behavior.
Okay, so that's crazy.
End quote.
So also, now all of us,
come on, Tammy.
All of us are from the tri-state area.
Yes, we are.
We all love where we're from.
Yes, we are.
But
I'm from Jersey City. Y'all from that other place. I said it.
John, please play the theme song. There's a million things written on behalf of the greatest state in the
John
country.
just threw his hand up as if to say, I don't have to dig
Come
by
on,
that
you already,
nonsense.
you're right. You wearing the hat. You wearing the hat. Yeah. But we do love our peeps down in Jersey.
The one time he don't say nothing, he don't need to.
He
right?
already know.
My man. That's
but
why I
here's
love
the
him.
thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's the interesting thing. You're buying these properties that are supposed to have a 30% rate of return on your investment within months. Now, John is the green talk man, but I understand money and how it works. I understand investments and how it works. I used to work in that space quite a bit. The properties he's buying and promising you this on are in Newark, Trenton. And you heard how I said Trenton? Trenton. You always say the hard T at Trenton, right? So it's in places
because
that
there is no such place as
economically.
Trenton. It is Trenton.
It's not Trenton.
It's
Trenton.
Trenton.
It's economically depressed. It is when Redman was making a fool and went.
How come I knew where you were going before you said it? On Cribs? Yeah.
Trenton.
Cribs.
Okay.
If you know Redman on Cribs.
North.
If you don't, then
South Orange.
I don't know.
He's buying these properties.
Irvington.
It sounds fancy. It's not.
I was in Irvington. The last time I was in Jersey, I was in Irvington. Let me tell you something.
Best thing in Irvington, they got a White Castle.
He's not
there
wrong.
You go.
He's not wrong.
And they do get the orders right because I've passed through there and they actually do.
You will sit in that drive-through for a half hour, but you're gonna get your
We
burger.
used to go to the strip club in Irvington called Dollhouse.
Well, there you go.
I know about Dollhouse and Wild Cherries, but anyway. So
I ain't never heard of it.
But here you go. So they're telling you what these places are.
Avon Avenue.
And these guys, Avon Avenue. Oh,
that's not.
And these dudes are literally saying to other celebrities, including Queen Latifah, buy in now.
And she from Newark.
She from Newark.
Hey, look, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. For those folks outside of the state, Newark. We say North. We say North. He not even saying it right. He ain't even saying it.
North.
He's still not saying it.
Okay.
We say
the
North.
6th borough.
Yeah. It's kind of like everybody saying Norfolk.
Yeah.
And when you come here, you're like Norfolk.
Yeah, it's not Norfolk.
It's Norfolk.
It's Norfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go trying to convince dudes like Joe Budden, Queen Latifah,
who's from there?
Latifah from there.
Joe Budden is from Jersey City.
He's trying to tap into the emotional
so he knows the area.
of it all, and they laugh him off the phone. A few people do it, but most people are like,
"Come on, bro.
Come on, DJ NB. Come on, NB. What's good?"
Bruh.
And here we sit. The station, iHeartRadio station, was raided by the FBI on Friday. They went in.
This is where Pena gets arrested, right?
And no, this was.
He got arrested before that.
He got arrested before that. They came there for the equipment that Envy uses.
Gotcha.
So they took equipment. They took stuff.
Yeah.
And Envy, I didn't send it to you, but he did make a light statement this morning. He went on the air this morning, like Joe Budden said, talking about morning. You know, he's still doing his DJ Envy bit. acting like it's all good, but DJ Envy could be in some Bernie Madoff trouble. Now, he is also saying in his live statement, he basically said, whatever Caesar was doing with the money, whatever Caesar was doing, I didn't know. However, if Fonnie Willis was on this case, this is deep because you can go back and pull
receipts,
video,
literally
of
receipts.
Him, I'm the man and he's the man.
Receipts.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. Envy's in trouble.
What you got, John?
Okay. I got a lot because it's my area.
Shocker.
Okay. So
what don't you have a lot?
So in Newark,
he's still saying it wrong.
In Newark,
he's still saying it wrong.
In Newark.
Newark, man. Say Newark.
Newark.
Closer.
Whatever. In the 6th borough, they had this area called the Iron.
We don't succumb to that because that makes it seem like we care about New York. They don't want
to be a part of
New York. We don't care
York.
about New York like that for real.
Anyway,
Brooklyn.
Whatever.
I gotta throw that shot,
so
bro.
We
Go ahead.
They had
man.
this
I'm sorry. Go
area.
ahead.
They had okay. So there's a part of Seton Hall over there. So they have Bergen. They have the Greater Bergen.
It's in Montclair,
Right,
not
that's the
Newark.
big. But no, they have a building or a campus, something in. It's one of them, right? Well, if it's not, I think it's Seton Hall. Somebody got something. One of the major colleges has a thing in Newark.
Rutgers.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
And NJIT, both of them.
Right, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
In that area, they started calling the neighborhood like the Ironwork District or something like that, and they started building air quotes luxury apartments and stuff. So it was a revitalization in the area. Plus, they had that tram that goes from Hoboken through Jersey City. They're supposed to be making a stop there. That tram, whatever it is. So the the path. It's a different train.
Light rail doesn't.
Light rail
doesn't go where you're saying it's.
But
the
they were talking about it.
Mhm.
So it gave the neighborhood some vitalization.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
So there was a time, and this was, I want to say 2005-ish, where it was on the come up. So people were going in and getting in. And I know a few Nigerians who made a lot of money over there with people trying to get in and go in with new construction and rehabs and so on and so forth. It's not happening. There's no true infrastructure to support that type of profit margin where you're talking about giving an investor 30% and you are going to get another 20 on your side. It's just not happening because the renovation, the resale it's just not gonna do it. Even if you were doing multifamilies. Now they try to do Floyd Mayweather's into something, real estate investment, where you buy a piece of a project, right? Might be 4 towers with 400 units. And you don't buy a unit, you buy a piece of the whole property. So you don't own a building, but you own part of the project and you get money based on that. That's a new real estate investment thing that people are getting into, small pieces of big projects like that. This guy Pena, I think they started out with a good idea. I think they were getting money, they were getting in underserved areas, they were getting dilapidated buildings, and they were actually, flipping them, rehabbing them, but they weren't reselling. They weren't reselling for the kind of money that they promised the investors. You would be lucky in that area where they was doing it. You'd be lucky to make 20, 30,000 on a resale. What are you going to do with that? How many ways are you going to split that? The money just wasn't there. And they were taking a lot of money. And what they were supposed to do was create an escrow, right? Where they would just have that money sit there. And as opportunities came along, they take the money, rehab, and give the people back part of the profit. I think a more reasonable thing would be about 5% annual. Is something like that they could do where they would still have margin to take profit for themselves and pay the contractor and so on and so forth. But even in that area, that would be a reach. 5% annual would be a reach in those areas. That's not downtown Brooklyn. It's not Midtown Manhattan. It's not Long Island City. It's not Jersey City or Hoboken. There's no skyline view there. There's nothing there. So you
Skyline view where?
in Newark. Newark doesn't have skyline.
No, not
Right.
no.
No.
Right, so-
I think there's a bigger conversation here. I don't even think it's the whole.
Yeah,
getting
I was waiting. I was waiting.
No. The money.
I'm not
I'm dealing with the money part.
Yeah.
Right?
The
But-
green
but-
talk angle. Yes.
But envy. But see, the thing was, this guy Pena used envy celebrity to get people to want to invest because the idea is envy's rich.
That's the angle.
You know what I'm saying? Envy's rich. He's got the car show.
There you go.
That he's got beef with Rick Ross
He's
about.
constantly bringing his wife's
Yeah,
stuff.
There you go.
there's
flashes
that.
his
That's
stuff.
the
all
part.
of that, yeah.
That's more relevant.
That's the
because
part.
honestly, that's the part that creates the trouble. People don't understand return on investment and so on and so forth. So he could say 2%, and 2% on $1 million would be blah, 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 whatever it's
Right.
going to be. They don't care about that. The reason these people are investing is because celebrity has power. And it even overrides your good sense of being able to say, first of all, if either of you seen Cesar Pena, he is a hot ass mess. He doesn't look like he has any physical discipline based on his shape. He's wearing his clothes look terrible. If you're gonna stand, he doesn't project success. He doesn't. And there is an entire population that would look at that guy and be like, ain't no way. But there's this element of us where it's like, and when I say us, I'm talking, I'll even take and throw everyone in who is socioeconomically depressed. There's this element of fast money and an easy win. And these are the people that constantly get pulled into. It's like people going to the Trump real estate school. It was clear and simply off the basis of what you think you know. And what we're all finding out is not real. And what most New Yorkers knew wasn't real. But he was pulling in people who really didn't have a lot of money. And they were making the investment to go to the Trump School of Real Estate with the belief that this will come easy simply because they said it. DJ Envy has never, he's even now saying it, he's never had real estate education. He is not a licensed realtor. You don't have to be to invest in real estate. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he doesn't have the real estate education that it would take for someone with more money to legitimately follow him. And that's why you don't see, unlike the whole cryptocurrency thing with Sam Freeman, you don't see as many celebrities involved in this because they had questions. They understand big money. They understand the return on the investment. He was smart enough to say those seminars is what was getting everyone. So they start coming to these seminars. And it again,
and paying there.
They're paying to be
They're
there.
paying at the seminar.
The seminar is
it's a show. They making
like
money.
Grant Cardone's seminar. So I'm not letting him off the hook either, although he is more experienced.
Can
in
you
the
say
real estate
multi-level
space.
marketing?
But it is MLM. Listen, what do I say all the time? I did my master's degree, my master's thesis on MLMs. I don't care how many black folk, and it's only black folk that are really trying. Maybe one white dude try to convince me about MLM. I don't care if it's Herbalife. I don't care what it is.
We the people.
It's a no. I don't care who's made money off of it. It's a no. At some point, there's not enough money for everybody to make the kind of money they're promising you're going to make. Number one, with this, it is truly a Ponzi scheme, and a lot of the people that are invested are socioeconomically depressed.
You know who killed the game and did it and made money flipping? Egypt. Another radio personality.
But Egypt is also a licensed realtor, has been involved because I have her books and I've watched her. She actually, when I first started wanting to get into online education and putting my sales stuff into courses, Egypt was someone that I paid attention to. She's not scamming. All these years, they would have known it.
And she did the thing. She did the thing in Atlanta, in Charlotte, and a few other places. And she made a good amount of money. She wound up marrying her contractor, and they worked together.
Yeah.
And you know how Steph Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and Radio. Here's what I will say, and then I will transition us into our Next topic. Yeah, you got to go to jail, bro. If that's what if that's what
Damn.
if that's what is coming down the pipe for you. I mean, one of the biggest arguments that me and Mrs. J ever had was over multi-level marketing. And years later, we laughed about watching the New York Mets become destroyed for a decade over the Ponzi scheme that which was Bernie Madoff. And so, I don't know this story. I learned the story today. Apparently, it's been going on, and this is the first time I've heard of it today. But my initial organic response to it is understanding how people always trying to find a quick buck. And if you attach a celebrity's name to a scheme and the celebrity seems to be for it, you're gonna get people that's gonna go along with it. And so shame on DJ Envy for not realizing that his dude was potentially shady. So now you got all of these people who lost their money. DJ Envy at some point is going to lose something, whether it be his reputation at minimum, his freedom at maximum. And it's an unfortunate thing because it didn't have to be this way. And you know how Steph Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Net Radio. All right, so we'll move on again. This one right here, I don't know if we're gonna have time for anything else. Perhaps we will, depending on how we moving right now. It's just there are a few things that we could always be talking about, but I don't know. Just this shit right here, we got to talk about this right here. So here you have an elected official that's having a whole moment with a staffer that she is not very happy with. This is Democrat Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and she, how they say, go ham, hard as a motherfucker. You can figure it, whatever you want to think about what I'm about to play for y'all. Think about what I'm about to play for y'all. But I will say this: if you got a problem with me saying fuck, then you're gonna have a real problem with this next clip. You might want to. And we don't do the parental event, the parental discussion thing. But as the dude who also went viral, hide your kids, hide your family. Yeah, remember that? I don't remember the dude's name, but I can find him on the internet. And anyway, I'm gonna play this clip because that joke didn't go over very well because I can't remember the boy's name. But play this clip, Marcus.
All from you. Jerome took it upstairs. I have to call him. He took it up when I switched out the picture. I'll call him as soon as you get there. I don't want you to do a goddamn thing. I want you to have a fucking brain. I want you to have read it. I want you to say, Congresswoman, it was such and such date. That's what I want. That's the kind of staff that I want to have. So some stupid other motherfucker did it, and I don't have the information. Nobody sent me the information. I need to ensure my schedule. And, if Boo-Boo did it, shit-ass did it, fuckface did it, and nobody knows a goddamn thing in my office, okay? Nothing. I gave it to you. Your job was to get it on the calendar, imprint it in your brain, or send me the information back saying, Congresswoman, I made sure that the Ovi Duncan Tell event that you gave me for so-and-so date at 7 is on the fucking calendar, not to, Jerome has it, okay? So when I called Jerome, he gonna be sitting up there like a fat-ass stupid idiot talking about what the fuck he doesn't know. Okay? Both of y'all are fuck up a fucking F. It's the worst shit that I could have ever had put together. Two goddamn big ass children. Fucking idiots. Serve no goddamn purpose. Ain't managing nobody, nobody's respecting them, nobody gives a shit about what you're doing. And you ain't doing shit. And this is an example of it. I gave it to Jerome. This is not child work. Okay?
Okay. So that was Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who is currently running for mayor of Houston. And she called her response to this tape being leaked of her with the Filth, Floor and Filth is that it's a political hit job. That's all she said. She didn't apologize, none of that. She just kept it pushing. Now, after this, you have had many people, including Democrats and Republicans who have said she is consistently graded as one of the worst to work for on the Hill. She's had 11 chief of staffs in 11 years. Her response was, I've had people come and go and then come back. This is how it is. There's not, this is just the amount of people that had left my staff is normal, so on and so forth. But her counterparts, her peers, say she is known for this kind of language and this kind of quote unquote abuse of her staff. Mind you, as Alyssa Farah said on The View this morning, there really is no, excuse me, HR.
She is HR.
She is, yeah. If you're not happy
Leave.
working in Congress,
Leave.
that's you
Leave.
But most people are gonna stay because of what it offers.
Yep.
And what it creates for you.
Yep.
So clearly, Sheila Jackson Lee, she's not the only one. There are others, but they know that it's hard for these people to leave because of how it benefits them. The person apparently that leaked this, or something to that effect, is running for a seat, maybe running for her old Congress seat. Supports her.
It's a right-wing conservative. I'm looking for the person now. I saw earlier it was a right-wing conservative person. So obviously there's some politics involved in leaking that.
Right. Now, listen, that certainly could be the case. But this is my take on it before you guys get in on it. There's this thing about over familiarity that we have with one another. And I've worked in small Black environments and watched a Black person speak to another Black person where I'm like, you're not his mother, right? Like, you're his boss, but not his mother. Why are you speaking to him like that? Like, if he took this to the EEOC, we have some issues here. I think she's doing what is part of the culture there. I think it's totally unacceptable. If you want to hear a funny take on it, you should actually hear Whoopi Goldberg. She does her Lion King hyena laugh. She tells Sheila Jackson Lee to call her and does the hoo thing after. She's like,
Mufasa.
Yeah, she's like, I just want to know the tea. You could call me Sheila. I think she went overboard. I think it's hard enough. Her staff is known to be reflective of the culture. She hires a lot of young Black people. I think there's a way to teach people. I think there's a way to re-educate them, and that wasn't it. I also think that I've heard lots of stories about her male counterparts, and people are not going, like, people were literally like, I can't believe she used those kinds of language, and they're just warning people about the language. You had a president that grabbed women, but come on. It's not new. It's not something that she is exclusive to her. I think it's totally inappropriate for you to have that kind of language directed at someone who's working for you. She wouldn't been able to deal with me, and I wouldn't have dealt with her. I would have walked out on her and been like, you deal with you. You do you. I'll find somebody else to work for. I know how to navigate and maneuver. However, pretending like this doesn't happen and she's the only one, I find interesting, considering who was president 4 years before Biden.
Our brother Treyard said, wow, simply just wow. What else can you say, Trey, other than wow? I'll take the final word. John, what you got?
If you've never worked in that kind of environment, not necessarily for Congress, but in a staff where there's a structural thing, there's the head person, that person has an assistant, the assistant has an assistant, and there's a whole bunch of staffers, and how stuff trickles down. If you haven't been in that kind of environment, that's all over the place. I mean, people get into fuck you fights all the time on the job, different jobs. Lately, though, recently over the years, with sensitivity going on in society, we don't do it as much anymore. But it listen,
Whoopi Goldberg kind of had this take.
It was a lot of. I remember when I was in the work in the corporate environment and work, it was a lot of motherfuckers. I mean, it was just a lot. That's just what it was. And you could motherfucker look, we can go the fuck outside you know, if it's gonna be some more of these and we would go outside at lunch and you know, and then come back to work because that was just what it was. And what I got from this was she should have fired him because he fucked up.
I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of my first thought.
And
That was kind of
in
my
Houston,
that was,
if I was there, she'd get
that
my
was kinda-
vote.
That was that.
And it
not
did,
only
it did sound like that.
not only was that my thought, I'm wondering why at the end of the clip
She didn't just
it
fire
didn't just
him.
come with the old school, "You're fired," you know, like
Listen,
like
or that's when you get polite. I
yeah.
don't think this is
There
working
was
out.
nothing about what she was saying that was polite, so I could dig it.
I don't think she wanted to
work.
fire him.
I work in an environment where there's not a lot of care given to language. You know, the people that I work with regularly, there's certain language, like we heard in that clip, that is pretty frequent, not necessarily directed at a person. You know how you can get in a conversation, don't you cuss at me, but you can say fuck a million times as long
Yes.
as you don't say fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's more so the environment that I'm used to. I think the way she spoke to that person was wholly inappropriate. There's no redeeming factor in it, period. However, you're not going to convince me on any level that that's not common. You can't convince
That's
me
what I'm saying.
that white men ain't talking to everybody around them like that. You
In
can't
Congress.
you will never convince me that they probably talk like that on the floor to each other.
Mhm.
So the fact that this is a black woman who happens to be a congresswoman, that's why this is a story. It's a story because it's a black woman. It ain't a story for no other reason other than it's a black woman, which for me makes this a non-story. Ain't no how Steph Marcus J,
Oh.
live from NewDen, Legacy in that radio. Trey Arts says, let's make America great again. LOL, just kidding. And Trey Arts, our guest last week. He said, I was just bullshit. Yeah. All right. So
And you know this,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. Ain't no how Steph Marcus J live from NewDen, Legacy in the radio. All right. Last thing that we're gonna talk about. Very last thing, because we've gotten to the point where we're at the top of the third hour, and so it is time for us to shift. But because of what's going on in the world, I would like to get a brief, concise comment from each of us with regards to what's going on in the Middle East, and then we're going to take it home and get through the final vestiges of the show. So the setup, you can say what you want, Staff John, but the setup that I would like for us to kind of keep with is the piece that I was thinking about as I have been thinking about this more and more watching the TV. You know, there are a lot of folks who have their own opinions about what's going on and how we've gotten to this point and all of those things. But the part that sticks out for me is the humanitarian efforts or lack thereof, the humanitarian need, the Islamophobia. Every time you see a Muslim person in this country, you look at them with some sort of disdain or wonder of what they about to do. Not everybody and not every time, but we know what it is when it comes to that. Anti-Semitism. We had a little boy last week who was killed by the landlord just because he was Jewish. You had the woman who was killed over the weekend. The press conference the police had today, they're trying to stay away from connecting this to any kind of hate crime. So we would be irresponsible to connect it. But the way the story was initially reported was you have this woman who leads this Jewish organization is found dead in her driveway. And with what's going on in the world, first thing that came out was, well, was this connected to a hate crime? The press conference today says perhaps not. Fair enough. But we know that we live in a country that is to use the common phrase, melting pot. So whenever you have a melting pot, you're going to have a little of this, a little of that, that little of this, and a little of that. Is we got Jewish people in our country. We got Muslims in our country. We got white people in our country. We got black people in our country. We got Christians. We got a whole slew of different people that come from different backgrounds who because the Constitution says that all men are created equal. Now, I'm not setting it up this way because I think that America believes the bullshit that was written in that paper in 1776, but it was written in that paper. It was written in that paper. So that is what our country purports itself to be. And so when we see what's going on around the world, you're going to have people from each of those demographics that I just laid out that is going to interpret it differently. You're going to have white people that's going to feel how they feel. You're going to have Jewish people that's going to feel how they feel, and Muslim people that's going to feel how they feel. Black people going to look at this and be like, man, I feel how I feel. Amari Stoudemire, a black man and former New York Knicks ball player and NBA player, who is a Jewish person, a Jewish man, had a lot of shade for black people and Black Lives Matter in particular, and felt that those folks in those communities should have more to say positively in support of what's going on with regards to the Jewish people in Israel. I'm not making this part of our conversation about whether the Israelis deserve that land, whether the Palestinians deserve that land, and all of the stuff that went on prior to 1948. We can have that conversation. We've had it before. We'll probably have it in the future. That's not what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is we're speaking about Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and the humanitarian crisis that has arisen in Israel as a result of this war with Hamas. So, John, you up first. Steph, you will follow. I will take the last word with regards to what I just set up, how I just set up. John, you got the con.
I'm going to do my best to stay within the parameters you set. It's difficult, though.
Well, in the interest of time, I'm going to need you to stay within the parameters that I just set and do it concisely.
If you're going in your pocket and you're sending money to Israel or to Palestine or to whoever you get, they're not getting it. Just want you to know that. But again, it's like the Christmas presents. It's making you feel good, but they're not getting that money. That's the first thing you need to know. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that's going on there because children are dying. Innocent people who have nothing to do with any of this, who have no say, no power, they're the ones who are dying. They're the ones who little bit of whatever they have is being destroyed. Both sides are being villainized, and the people who are carrying the brunt of that are the people who are not involved, because the people who are involved are not even there. They're in other places, out of danger, them and their families. A lot of them are here in America, shopping in New York City right now, while all those bombs are going off in their home country. It's a sad thing, but don't sell your Lockheed Martin or your Boeing stock because money's going through the roof right now. Right? It's blood on the street. It's money in the bank. These people are buying. America's selling everybody weapons. Iran, Iraq, Israel, Palestine, through other people. Hamas is getting America. Everything over, every bullet over there, it's somebody bought it in America. Right? So somebody's making some money off it. It's just a horrible thing that the innocent people suffer. But what I will say, in making this short with the humanitarian thing, I think Biden asked for $1 trillion, something like that. All right, check this out. How dare you, Joe? How fucking dare you? You gonna ask us for $1 trillion for them? We got enough death and shit here. I mean, I feel bad for them, but that's their damn business. Right? How many, every 60 seconds a black woman gets missing? We ain't no $1 trillion for that shit. So many children are what they call food insecure in this country, black, white, indifferent, suffer from the same kind of shit where they don't know if they're going to eat breakfast. And we're going to send $1 trillion to someplace else because they are friends. Yeah, they are friends. But they ain't sent us shit. right? Our roads and highways and bridges is falling the fuck apart. People can't. People. We can't. We can pay. We can act like we gonna pay to help somebody rebuild a brick house, but we not building houses for people, affordable housing for people here in this country, for vets, people who fought and were injured in wars prior to this one, and we don't got $1 trillion to help them out. But we're gonna send $1 trillion to Ukraine and to we need the charity begins at home, right? My mother told me never loan what you can't afford to lose, and never give what you don't have. And that's what they asking us to do. Give it. We ain't got $1 trillion, and we can't afford to lose it. We can't loan it. We can't give it away. Not until we fix the shit right here. So I wish everybody nothing but the best in the whole world on all sides of the argument, and we can go all day about it and wax poetic. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the money, because I guarantee you, remove the profit from the situation and we'd have peace in a day.
Ain't no how Steph Marcus, Shay Live from NewDen, Legacy, Internet Radio. Steph, what say you?
First, I see a little special guest I want to shout out. That's my cousin, Brenda. She is tapping in. I appreciate the support. You know how you always have that one person in your family, no matter what, they carry a certain nickname.
Yes.
So I have 2 aunts that are Brenda on my father's side of the family.
Okay.
And then my cousin Brenda, who her sister Darlene and I and her, we're the 3. We fall into the top eldest girls of the family, with me being first. But these are my girls. They're sisters. They tight. They're good women, and we're real cool. But to this day, if I
she said don't do it. And I'm sure you know whatever the hell that means. She said
Brenda, I got you. You want to turn the mic off?
She said she got a few comments in here. So first she's been with us. She said, how we in debt and giving anything. I agree, brother. She's with you on that, John. And then she hits us with the universal, hey, yeah.
She's a good time all the time.
And then she said, don't do it, Steph.
Don't do it. Okay, I will do it.
Yeah.
But when I pick up the phone,
see, Brenda, I saved you, because I didn't have to read that. Know what? She's gonna do it.
And while she is, here's the funny thing. Growing up, she always said, I'm not gonna do it. She always seemed like she might be the one that she's gonna protect her sister, she's gonna protect her cousins, everything. But I just told my uncle about her the other day. I don't care what I'm gonna say. She's gonna be the person that's like, it's family and we're gonna love them.
Yeah.
It's family and we're gonna love them.
Yeah.
I want to talk,
yeah,
but it's family. So I gotta call my other cousin and pull her into me being bad and be like, can you believe this? But Brenda.
Blessings to you as well.
Yeah,
Brenda.
that's my boo.
She says, I know, and let me just say this. Let me love on you, Brenda, because if you kin to this one right here, I'm kin to this one right here by spirit. And that means you my cousin, girl.
Yes, right there in Jersey.
She in Jersey too?
She in Jersey. South Jersey.
We got you, Brenda.
Brenda, and you family. We love you. So thank you.
Not far from the Black Horse Turnpike, as they say.
We appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with us.
That's my family.
So what you say about all of this?
I'll post a picture of me, her, and her sister. I mean, we've been tight from day one. Her house was where you could go, and her mom had brought them this cute little light up record player, and we would sing "It's My House and I Live Here" by Diana Ross.
And me casa and yo vive aquí.
And we would march around. Grown.
I just told my age.
It's my house and I live here.
You did.
So yes, thank you, Brenda. I appreciate the support. Listen, it's hard to disagree with John on the financial element of it. I think there's a lot of conversation that needs to be had about how it's prefaced. You know, when it comes to the humanitarian need, people are easily able to attach to the humanity of the Israeli people. And I'm saying Israeli people because there's not just Jews in Israel. There are also Israeli Arabs that are living in Israel. And people can immediately attach themselves to the needs of the Israeli people because Hamas is on the other side. But when it's time to talk about the Palestinian people, they immediately conflate it with Hamas. And that's where I struggle, because I feel like, to John's point, the civilians on both sides are really the people that are taking the hit. And it's just like I mentioned last week. I said, unfortunately, our country is so tied into this. We have diplomatic relationships with Qatar. Israel does not. Qatar has diplomatic relationships with Hamas, which means it makes us connected to the problem. We have a relationship with, not a diplomatic side, but a relationship with Israel. So we're funding their needs. We sent them over, a new weapon system and everything else. And then we are enemies with Iran, who is connected to Hamas, but Qatar and Iran are fine with one another. So at the end of the day, the United States stands staunchly in the middle of everything, because we're negotiating with everybody and we're funneling money in multiple places. We're funneling money to Israel, and then we turn around and we're like, okay, and we feel bad, so now we're going to send convoys to the Palestinians. I understand that people believe that having peace in the Middle East is safest for the United States. But what it seems like to me, and Netanyahu kind of did some things, I think Netanyahu, to some degree, is allowing Hamas to be exactly what they are, because he can then use it as a reason to consistently stay in power. He's going to limit them, but only so much. And it has nothing to do with the fact that the Palestinian people many years ago in the early aughts voted for Hamas. And they didn't vote for them overwhelmingly. We voted, this country had Trump as a president. What if everyone said, well, the people in the United States deserve whatever they get because they voted for Trump? And to some degree, there were people here who said it. But the problem is, we all had to live up under it. We all were impacted by it. We're all being impacted by it now. So, while we'll never be out of the mix, it is disappointing to watch this whole process, hear us speak out of both sides of our mouths, and realize that this will come to an end, but ultimately it will start again, and we'll be right back in the middle of it. And that's where it's problematic.
Ain't no hashtag Marcus J Live from NewDen Legacy Net Radio. I'll take the final word before we move towards the final vestiges of the show, which include our rants, it includes our closings, it includes our moment in Black history, and it includes our missing child, which will come right after I make my comment here on the Islamophobia and the anti-Semitism and the humanitarian crisis in Israel. We live in a world where Muslim people and Jewish people, they got smoke. They always got smoke. They've always had smoke. They're going to always have smoke, right? And they kill each other. They kill each other in the Middle East, North Africa, y'all, by the way, for those folks who are confused about the map, about tired of hearing people talk about the Middle East, and we talk about Egypt and Libya. That's North Africa. Not part of this conversation, but just a matter of, reference. And I'm frustrated because while I see what Hamas has done, I know that Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people. Hamas said, fuck y'all, we coming in here, we're going to start a fight. And they did. They came in and they started a fight. Israel was like, word? That's what we doing? All right, so we're going to blow y'all up. Hamas. Sorry that Hamas happens to live amongst the Palestinians. I used the analogy last week when I said that you will have the gang that'll live in the projects, and so the police just bomb the projects. You got grandma and you got grandpa and you got the kids and you got everybody running out the buildings. And if you are listening to us in Pick Your Hood America, you get the analogy, or at least I hope you do. The people in the projects didn't do nothing wrong. The gangs took over the projects and they are housing themselves there. And they did some foul shit. And the police is coming. And the police is going to knock the whole projects over looking for the gangs. Never mind who happens to be there. That's what's happening in Israel right now, in Gaza, and then to a lesser degree in the West Bank, where the Palestinian people are becoming the innocent victims because of this war. So we have to be mindful of that. And we need to be mindful of, while we are sympathetic to what happened to the Jewish people in Israel, and we're going to always be mindful of that, we should be equally mindful of the plight of the Palestinian people, and how, of everybody involved here, in my opinion, just my opinion, they the most innocent. They're just most innocent. If you look at history, they're the most innocent, the Palestinian people. So I speak in regards to them, in support of them, as well as in support of any innocent civilian that has become a casualty of war. Let me just say that, be 100% clear on that. Because the political side and why we've gotten here, I'm not doing that. Let other folks do that. You want to tag me as an anti-Semite? Fine. I promise you I don't care about what you call me, because I know my heart and so does the Lord. So I'm not worried about what you think. Last thing that I will say with regards to the United States participation in some of these activities overseas is, I think the piece that we forget, or perhaps we didn't know or may not even understand, is that we signed a treaty. We signed a NATO agreement. Let me give you another analogy, because I'm pretty good at those things. John and Steph and me, not only do we do this podcast for y'all and for each other first, and then for y'all, we actually like each other. We love each other, and we're friends. And so if something was to happen with John or Steph, imagine the three of us signed a paper that said that we would stand up for one another. And so we choose to do that. And Marcus J happens to be wilding. I'm wilding. You know, I'm doing things that John maybe doesn't agree with. And John pulls me to the side and he says, Marcus, I think you wilding a little bit. I think you should chill out. And I'm like, man, fuck that. I'm doing that. I'm doing what I'm doing. Well, guess what? Based upon the NATO treaty, John's hands are tied with regards to whether he has to support me, even if he disagrees with me, and he can use his considerable influence on trying to steer me towards making the right decision. But if I continue to choose to wild out, there are certain lines that John's not going to cross, but for the most part, he got to stand there with me, because he pledged to stand there with me as my brother, as my friend, and as my treaty partner. So let me let you in on another thing, putting it back into real shit, pulling out of the analogy. The United States is the leader of the world. We don't like it because we got shit going on in our own hoods. Richmond got a problem. Virginia got a problem. So does Jersey City and New Jersey. So does Houston and Texas. So does St. Louis and Missouri. So does Denver and Colorado. So is New Orleans and Louisiana. So does Atlanta and Georgia. Every single state got their shit. Every single state got their shit. But America is the leader of the free world. We want every single country in the world to feed into democracy, to feed into having a election to put people in positions so that the people could speak to what they want. The model is sound. You have countries, including our own, that fuck it up. Fuck it up. But the model is sound. You put somebody in place to represent the people tell the representative what they want, the representative goes to his or her peers, lobbies for it, and everybody gets something out of it. If it's done properly, it'll work. The problem is it's not done properly because you got greedy motherfuckers who want their own way. And you got violent motherfuckers who want their own way. And often that model is put in places that have had generation upon century of fighting that the Western world of democracy simply will not work. But America signed a paper. And on that paper, it said, we're going to stand with you no matter what. So let me let y'all in on a little secret. If Russia invades Ukraine and that fighting spills over into Poland, guess what? America is at war. Why? Because Poland is part of NATO. They just are. You ain't got to like it. Your town might have shitty shit going on and they ain't got no money to deal with it. But if Russia wiles out and that war in Ukraine spills out into a NATO country, the money that we got here that should go to the community center in your hood is going to put boots on the ground in whatever NATO country we end up in fighting it because of that agreement. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to throw shade at the country because of it. That shit predates most of our existence in this life. Ain't got nothing to do with you. Ain't got nothing to do with what you think. You ain't got to like it. It is what it is. Ain't no how Step Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy in that radio. Here's where we shift. And here's where we move on. And the first thing that we will do is our moment in Black history. And because I can read it and you can't, I can read it and you can't, I can read it and you can't, you can see the picture. Here's why I was now, right? I got this new thing where I'm doing our moments in history off of this Black History Facts or Great African American card book, Library of Congress. I've had this thing for years and I'm not even entirely sure why. I just recently started using it, but there are so many cards here, so many Black Americans that have done some wonderful, wonderful things. And so we had the novel idea of why not use that to share moments in Black history. Obviously, because there are going to be some people in there, some of us, maybe not all, but some of us be like, whoa, I didn't even know about that. Thank you for sharing that. So that's why we're doing it. So the person that we are going to profile today, and you all on social media can see the sister's picture. And now I will read the card. The picture that you just saw is of Mary Cardwell Dawson. Mary Cardwell Dawson was born in 1894 and made her transition in 1962. She was the driving force behind the National Negro Opera Company, which she founded in 1941 as a vehicle for young African American singers whose opportunities in established opera companies were limited by racial discrimination. Dawson studied music at the New England Conservatory and Chicago Musical College, and in 1927, she established the Cardwell School of Music in Pittsburgh. There, she also founded and directed the Cardwell Dawson Choir, which toured often and won a number of awards in the years preceding World War II. A woman of enormous energy and accomplishment, Dawson, for 21 years, oversaw the National Negro Opera Company, NNOC, and its affiliated guilds in New York, Washington, and Chicago. Among the company's celebrated productions were Verdi's Aida and La Traviata. Let me say that again. Verdi's Aida and La Traviata, Nathaniel Dett's The Ordering of Moses, and Clarence Cameron White's Unaga, the first production to be staged by an outside company at the Metropolitan Opera House. Today, John, Steph, and yours truly, we celebrate Mary Cardwell Dawson. Thank you for your service, my sister. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J live from NewDen, Legacy in the radio. So let's see. See if you had any comments. Our brother Brent says, great idea. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Let's see. Any other comments in here? I think that's it. Brenda is in there and she says, good point, Steph. Everybody suffers. She says, amen. And so as we're talking, She's doing what we do. She is giving us the positive reinforcement
Love.
that comes with that. So thank you, Brenda, and thank you, Brent. We appreciate that. Ain't no I still Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Net Radio. All right, so missing children, my least favorite part of the show. Henrico and Chesterfield. We're looking for a couple of youngins here in town. Achoti Elijah Brown. Achoti Elijah Brown. She's been missing from Henrico since Friday, October 20th. She's 14. Last seen wearing a black hoodie, brown boots, and her hair is dyed green. If you've seen Achoti Elijah Brown, please contact the Henrico County Police Department at 804-501-5000. At the same time, we're looking for Achoti Elijah Brown. We're also looking for Keon Darius Henderson, also missing since Friday, October 20th, from Chesterfield. He's a 15-year-old black male who requires medication and may be in the need of medical attention. If you've seen Keon Darius Henderson, please contact the Chesterfield County Police Department at 804-748-1251. Let us recap. Achoti Elijah Brown and Keon Darius Henderson. If you've seen either of them out of the Richmond metro area, please contact the National Center for Missing and/or Exploited Children on their website, missingkids.org, or contact them by phone at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. Please, 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 as we often do on this show, at this time of the show, ask you, along with the missing children that we laid out, we ask you to keep an eye open for the two missing children who we will always profile until they come home. Keisha Jacobs out of Richmond, Virginia, and also Tyara Cacique Williams out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Keep them in your heart, keep them in your thoughts, keep them in your purview. If you've seen them, contact your local authorities. And I asked there Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. This is the part of the show where we shift and everyone gets an opportunity to say their final word. We call that part of the show the rant and the closing. Before we do that, we want to affirm one another with our affirmations. So last week I forgot to read mine. So to keep from doing that again, we will read our affirmations all together, and then we will rant and we will close. So John, Steph, yours truly, read your affirmation, and then I will shift us back to you, John. You up first, bro. What is your affirmation? Your mic, grab your mic.
Today I will see the possibilities. Today anything is possible. My heart is open to any and all possibilities.
Keep that heart open, bro. Sis.
Today I am happy. Today happiness and love will fill my heart and soul all day.
Today I am kind. Today I will make this day count, and I will do something kind for someone. I love that one. Yeah, I hope that I pick that one every time I pick a card. John, you have the kind. I appreciate you, man. You had an outstanding show tonight. I appreciate you. We all did. You up first. Take us on with your rant and your closing, bro.
I got two parts in my closing, and I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. I'm not going to preference this scenario with anything. Y'all are going to know what I'm talking about fast. Right? But think about your hometown where you live or where you grew up or where you came from, right? And think about a street and an address. And let's say on that street, we call it Main Street. Any Main Street, right? There's a building, 102 Main Street. Well, 102 Main Street has 102A and 102B. It's a house, but it's split into two houses. You got A house and you got B house. Now, A house has 10 bedrooms, a basement, kitchen, and 4 bathrooms. And house B has the same thing. And that house is a family, one whole family. But they got some tenants. They got some rooming people. Now these people are diverse. They come from all walks of life, different kind of people, different religions, and so on and so forth. But they all kind of just get along because they all from the neighborhood, right? So one day, somebody comes to the neighborhood. They come to 102 Main Street and they say, "Listen, these people from out of town are gonna come here and they're gonna take over apartment B or house B." And you say, "Why?" And they say, "Because we said so. And if you don't like it, we'll kill you." So you'd be like, "I don't want to die." You try to put up a little scuffle, but it ain't help because they's much bigger and stronger than you. And you get everybody who was in B and you move them over into A. And these people from a whole nother town moved into B. So they got control of B, you got control of A. It's a little tight, it's uncomfortable, whatever. But you see, apartment B has the power box that controls the lights. They have the control button for the AC. They have the furnace. They have all the stuff. They have the cable box. All that stuff is in B side. So if you want any of the amenities, you got to be nice because the people on B side will cut you off. And you rock like that for a little while. But the next thing you know, they tell you, we kind of crowded over here on B side. We need some of them 10 bedrooms. They come and take one. They take another one. And you beef about it. They say, but hey, if you beef, we'll cut off the lights for you. And you won't have anything. So you give up the 2 bedrooms, the 3 bedrooms. Next thing you know, everybody who was in house A and B, who moved over to house A, are now living in a linen closet. They're living in a linen closet, right? Under the same idea, right? And you constantly say, but you were only supposed to have house B. House A was supposed to be for me. And they tell you, shut up, be grateful. You're lucky you got that. So these people are mad and they beefing. And every now and then, people from a house B will come into the linen closet and just for shits and giggles, beat somebody, rape somebody, kill somebody, right? All of a sudden, you're in the linen closet, you decide you want to fight back. You want to fight back. Next time they open that door to come in there to beat, kill, rape somebody, you're going to fight back. And when you fight back, you hit some of the people from house B and you hurt them. And they pull out a gun and they kill you. And when you say, you see what they did to us? They killed us. They said, well, they had the right to defend themselves. They had the right to defend themselves in your house while you were subjugated to the linen closet, right? Being beaten, raped, and murdered. But they had the right to defend themselves. Y'all think about that for a minute. My second part of my closing is simple. I'm tired. I'm a bit fatigued with my folk. And I'm gonna tell you why. We live in America. I say this almost every week. We live in America, right? We know how bad it is. We know it's not fair, it's not equal. We know we get the shit into the sick way too often. We know that Black women especially are the most marginalized, underappreciated, and set upon people in the country, probably in the world. We understand all of this. But what I'm tired of is that it's not an excuse for failure, right? You can tell me that it's going to take you a little bit longer. You could tell me that it was a little bit harder than you believe it should have been. But for you just to sit down and acquiesce to mediocrity or to failure because it ain't fair or equal, I'm tired of that. You knew what it was. You were prepared. You were prepped. Somebody told you. Somebody had to talk. That's like when I get pulled over by the police. It ain't fair. It ain't right. But guess what? I got prepped. I got told what to say, what to do, and what not to do. And I knew it was coming just because I was driving while Black. But I'm not going to let that. I'm not going to get into a situation where, you know what? I ain't gonna never get in the car again. I ain't gonna drive nowhere. I'm gonna stay home, and I'm just not gonna have a life because it's not fair that the police are gonna pull me over because I'm black. No, that's bullshit. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I'm gonna suffer through what I need to suffer, and I'm gonna get myself in the best position possible so that doesn't happen to me as often, right? And if need be, get myself into a position where I can hire a white driver to drive me around, and maybe he won't get stopped if that's what I need to happen, right? But again, just because it's bad, just because it's rough, just because it ain't fair, is no reason for you to be a failure. No longer accepting it. I'm tired of hearing it. You know, get up, get out, get something, or get lost. And that's my closing.
Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. Live from NewDen Legacy Internet Radio. Steph, you about to say the last thing you gonna say tonight, girl. What you got?
I'm just gonna keep it concise. So you know, you and I both listen to the it's probably dying.
This one, I got you.
Listen to the Ice-T Daily Game podcast, and I absolutely enjoy it. So you know, sometimes it's 8 minutes and he be all over the place a little bit, like trying to figure out what he agrees with or don't agree with. And I've heard him say, yeah, but I don't know if I agree with that, but okay, you know. And he says, I'm dissecting other people's quotes, some of these are mine. And not too long ago, he did one that was to win, you have to lose. And I listened to him, and that quote was a Michael Jordan quote. He was talking about, you know, to experience happiness, sometimes you experience unhappiness or dissatisfaction. And certainly all of his wins come from a space of having had some failures and losses. And, you know, I'm always somebody who tries to understand what other people are dealing with. Perhaps that is from, you know, getting into coaching and everything. And in order to be helpful, acknowledging that people hear how they hear, but also that that if I actually want them to take action, I don't want to be insulting. It's okay to be afraid of what the risk is. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take the risk. It is okay to be aware of all the things that come along with the risk, but it's still okay to go ahead and take the risk. You know, a lot of times people will say, well, there's no such thing as failure. No, some things we just fail at. We tried, it didn't work, it didn't work out, it failed. You know, I heard someone describing divorce. They were like, well, it's not, you learned something, so you didn't fail. No, I mean, you do learn something, but if the marriage ended in divorce, a successful marriage doesn't typically end in divorce. There was a reason it wasn't successful. And what you may have learned is, in order to do this successfully the next time, I would choose a partner that does this, that, and the other. I would be different in these ways, so on and so forth. To win, you do have to lose. It's okay to understand that and then calibrate your and then calibrate how much loss you can accept. Everyone has a different point. You know, I was talking about someone the other day and I was like, their bottom is just different than mine. They can sink much lower than I can sink. I don't have, my comfort desires won't allow me to go into that space. It's too low for me. That's not where I want to be. Now I'm willing to risk failure, but I don't know if I want the failure. I don't want to risk the failure and end up on the outs of this particular thing that I want. So I have to acknowledge what level of risk I'm able to take and accept. But it shouldn't be that you're not willing to lose. This is how, you know, I saw a video of two young girls. One of them had never lost a match. The other was fairly new. I will send it to both of you. It'll be interesting. And the young girl who won who lost, excuse me, had never lost before. And losing was so far outside her scope of understanding because she had not experienced it that she began to behave as though she won. She was jumping up and down, running in front of the crowd. The crowd was shocked. Like, you lost. Like, you don't know what happened here. You lost. She wasn't able to process losing. Part of getting out there to take a risk. And if you sit in, this is why I don't think college is for everyone, but I think there are certain lessons that you learn while you're there that make you better. And one of the lessons that you often learn when you're taking up business, traditional business classes and things, are understanding risk and understanding risk aversion. And none of those classes tell you don't ever take risk. They just teach you how to understand the impact of the risk. If it comes out a certain way, this is where you win or lose. You invest in this market during a downtime. This is where the potential of win or loss is, and so on and so forth. And the unfortunate thing, and again, I come from a place of understanding, not assuming that because I've done certain things right, because I've done just as many things wrong. Not assuming that just because I've done certain things right and I understand things differently, that people are dumb or irrelevant because they don't get it. Someone didn't teach them, right? But the thing that they could understand, if nothing else, no matter what space you're in, you are capable. There is risk you're capable of taking. If you know where you want to win, start writing down, okay, where am I lacking currently? This is what I would challenge you to do. Where am I currently lacking? What is the thing that I want to win or succeed at? And where's the potential for failure? When you sit in those classes, that you really start to dissect the potential for failure. And you may see that I still want to go that route, even though the potential for failure could look like this. I'm willing to take that risk. I can afford to. And afford doesn't always mean financially. Sometimes it's emotionally, what I'm willing to lose, how that impacts me, how that makes me feel. Sometimes, even within your relationships. Last week, John mentioned what you don't say and what you do say, and how it's a man tax and things like that. And one thing I was processing is sometimes you don't say certain things because it's not worth the risk of losing a person. And is that statement or comment a necessity in this moment? And you're calculating it and doing the math on that risk, and it's like, it's not worth it for my partner, my loved one, my wife, my friend, to be mad at me for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just because I felt the need to say something because I can. You calculate the risk. That is something that we're not often taught in our community. We're taught to be risk averse. I see this in the world that I work in. For years, I worked in sales as a sales trainer, corporate sales trainer, and then running a sales firm, working independently as a sales contractor and all. And I rarely could find Black sales professionals to hire because it's a risky field. And what people view as their potential, the risk they can potentially afford, is often very low when we're coming out of communities that are inherently marginalized. And so Black children are often raised to do the thing that doesn't create a lot of risk. Go to college, get a degree, work in accounting or finance. And now it's STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And then you'll have someone who is extremely talented. And you go, you don't want to be a singer because most people don't make it. Most people don't make it. But what if that child is willing to take the risk of not making it? Because being in their craft is more important to them. That's what nurtures their soul. And, both my Stephasodes and tonight is really to encourage parents to not put your fear of risk on your children, not to project that on them, because historically we are risk adverse people. And what we're doing is continuously retraining and now training our children not to take the risk. And so today, that's what I challenge you. I challenge you to understand that to win, you must lose. And don't let your fear of failure get in the way of what you encourage your loved ones to do. Take the risk. And if you're someone who hasn't taken a risk, now's a good time to do it. Just sit back and calculate what you can afford to lose, whatever afford means to you. But you deserve to bet on yourself. And that's my rant.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J live from NewDen Legacy and that radio. So this is where I will take it home. And I'm gonna have a familiar refrain similar to what I talked about last week, but not in a rant. If you're a friend of mine and have been in personal conversations with me over the last, say, 30, 35 years, then you would know that I've been a fan of Will Smith since 1987. Met him in 1988, shook his hand. Been a fan of Jada Pinkett since 1993. When I saw her on A Different World, a show that is a big part of the reason why I come to you from Richmond, Virginia. She joined the show after I was already here, but that's where I discovered her. So I haven't allowed the events of their relationship to cloud my love for them or my fanship for them as individuals. Them as a couple is kind of a is what it is thing. Like I never really get into, ooh, they make a cute couple and all that kind. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I like them. I've always liked them. They come from places that I come from. Their stories are not like mine, with the dysfunction in their families, but the hood of Baltimore, the hood of Philly, the hood of Jersey City, the hood of Brooklyn. I mean, there's not really that much different. So I've always been a fan of theirs. There are a few things that I would like to point out or at least talk about in the limited time. The song that's playing by Molly, as you hear singing in the background. I got 5 minutes left. I fully expect to be done within that time frame. But here's what I want to talk about. I marvel at the lack of grace that our people give those people. Those same people, as a fan of theirs, like I am, I'm pretty confident many of us have been fans of theirs. Middle-aged people, 49 years old. I just told you I've been a fan of Will since 1987 when I was 13 years old. First time I heard Girls of the World Ain't Nothing But Trouble. It was great. Thought it was outstanding. He shook my hand in 1988 when I'm 14. He locked me in as a fan for the rest of my life. And Jada, Lena, James, my goodness. But none of that matters. Not for the point that I'm making now. What matters is the lack of grace that I found that our people give to people who they claim to be fans of. Claim to be a fan of Jada, you claim to be a fan of Will, but now you're not feeling neither one of them. We got a variety of reasons, but for some reason lately, the venom seems to be much stronger for Jada. And I'm struggling with that, quite frankly, because there are a few reasons why folks are coming specifically for her, and I'd like to point a couple of them out. Point out y'all's bullshit and hypocrisy. First thing I want to talk about is August Alsina. And she's talking about her boyfriend and she's embarrassing Will and all of this kind of shit. Yeah. Well, first of all, Will talked about his side chicks and girlfriends in his book years ago. So we got no grace for her talking about her entanglement, even though we didn't come for him the same way. By the way, speaking of August Alsina, he's the one that leaked that whole story. He's the one. Not her, him. He's the one. But because she decided to tell her own side of the story and include her husband in doing it, now she's a terrible person. Oh, they've been separated for all these years. We just finding out. Maybe it's none of your business that they've been separated for all those years. Perhaps they were separated because of his infidelity. Perhaps. Yes, he was on Red Table Talk to talk about his wife's entanglement with her boyfriend, which I found to be quite boss. Why? Because he ain't want to break up his family. And he don't owe y'all no explanation. Y'all can call him whatever you want to call him. He's still a man who has not been emasculated. Let's talk about that part. She's emasculating him, talking about all her stuff. How you going to emasculate somebody? Do we even know what it means? Emasculation means you taking away the manhood of a person. You can't take the manhood of a man who's a man who chooses to stand with his woman while she tells her story that many of our sisters who we sleeping with every night and have similar stories. We got a problem with them though. Why? Because they telling us. We not telling our stories because we don't want people in our business. And we don't want it to blow up our life. So that's why we choose to be quiet. They don't care because they shit's in front of us anyway. What difference does it make? And guess what? He wrote a book. She wrote a book. They making money off of y'all throwing shade at them. So who's the dummy now? And then there's Tupac. I am so sad for anybody. And hear me when I say this. I'm so sad for anybody who has lived their life, who has not experienced the kind of platonic love that Jada and Pac have for each other. I've been there. I know what it feels like to have the love of a woman who I'm not trying to fuck. And even if I wanted to, if she put the barrier up, if my love for her was strong enough to not try to cross it, I would appreciate that kind of relationship as well. And we have so many judgmental people wounded and traumatized that they can't even appreciate something that has nothing to do with them. It's none of their business. She's emasculating her husband while talking about her relationship with Tupac. How about it was Will who told her that Tupac had died? How about that? How about the fact that she was with Will when Tupac died, when she got the information? He's the one who told her. Bet you didn't know that. You didn't know that because it ain't none of your business. And you talking so much and so strong about these people's shit. Yes, they've put it out there. So it's on the table for us to talk about. But for me, it ain't about the talking. It's about the judgment. It's about the judgment of middle-aged people with their own entanglements looking at these people like they don't understand what the fuck's going on. Like you ain't never met nobody that's been married to somebody they've been separated from for a whole decade. You don't know nobody that's been married and separated for a long time? For real? Black people? Come on. Middle-aged black people. Nobody? You don't know nobody that's been married and separated for a long time? Stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. Sisters, come on, man. You got the dude who you let take you out to eat. That's his only job. He don't know that's his only job. But for you, it's his only job. And you got the dude that's putting it down. But you got shade for Jada because she got an entanglement and a husband. Bruh, you can't even pump gas for her. But you calling Will a simp for smacking the fire out of dude that talk shit about her. Like, really? What are we talking about here? It's the hypocrisy and the judgment for me that I struggle with. So if that makes me Team Jada, I'm proud to say it. That makes me Team Will, I'm proud to say it. You want to come for me and have a discussion about it? Let's discuss it. I'm here for it. I'm for the shits and I have time. Samur, Marcus, is unrelated rant. That ain't got nothing to do with what we talked about tonight. It's the end of the show. I want to remind everybody that independence is key to building your legacy. Also, want to say peace to all of the stars and all of the squares. I never do this. I'm going to stop right here and give a shout out to Cousin Terry because I was in Greensboro, North Carolina for her high school graduation when I met Will Smith. So, yeah, she says she has the pick May of 1988. That's absolutely when my little sister and my mama and me met Will Smith. And Nana met Run. My Nana, who we lost in 2003, she met Run, and I didn't get to meet Run. The abundance of water, the food is thirsty. I already did that part. Independence is key to building your legacy. I already did that part. Authenticity has no competition. I promise you, I didn't do that part. We celebrate 12 years doing this, man. Very excited. I love John. I love Steph. I love y'all. Rock with us on another show. We'll be back soon. Ain't no half Steph and Marcus J. We love y'all. Y'all. Peace.
Mm, mm, mm. Oh yeah. I'm with this, with me. I'm just gonna lay back and I'm gonna drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. About to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready. Let's go. Ain't no half stepping is the name of the show. Yeah. Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah. Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you want to talk about, call and we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. Yeah. The word on the street with the Earl on the beat. We superb in the beat, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepper with Marcus J, my brother. Yeah. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. My brother so smart, plus brother got style. For Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. For Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk. Ain't no half stepping is the name of the show. Yeah. Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you want to talk about, call and we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. Yeah. The word on the street with the Earl on the beat. We superb in the beat, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepper with Marcus J, my brother. Yeah. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. My brother so smart, plus brother got style. For Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk.